Sorry, guys. Just want to know, get everyone's attention. Good afternoon, everyone. I'll now call this meeting to order at 7 p.m. Good evening. Apologize. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I will now ask for a moment of silence for those that are missing in action and prisoners of war. Thank you. Secretary Billups, can we please have a roll call?
Yes. Secretary Billups is here. Vice President Minnick.
Here.
Councilor Wagner is excused. President Tunis.
Here.
Councilor Banto.
Yes.
Councilor Brandes.
Here.
Councilor Andrusko, I believe, is on Zoom.
Yep, here.
Thank you. Councilor Wentz.
Here, via Zoom.
Thank you. Thank you. Councilor Silva is running late. And Councilor Blackwell, I believe, is running late. And we have Councilor McNeely.
Here.
Our Honorable Mayor Ed Brown is not here. Okay, it's not here today. We have our Chief Administrative Officer, Crandall Jones. We have our Solicitor, Lauren Gallagher, and Sydney Youngblood. Thank you. And we have our Chief Municipal Clerk, Kate Doggett, and we have our officers. I can't see who you are. Hi, we have our officers. And of course, we have all of you, all the residents of Upper Darby. Thank you for being here tonight. And I'm sorry, and we have some department heads that are here tonight as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Secretary Billups. The next item on the agenda is rules of meeting decorum. Upper Darby residents have the opportunity to speak for 3 minutes. Residents are prohibited from making threats, using profanity, or acting in a manner that would impede or prevent the conduct of the business of the meeting. Any person who attends the meeting and makes remarks, disrupts, or otherwise impedes the orderly conduct of the meeting after receiving a verbal warning may be required to leave the meeting at the discretion of the council president. Public forum should not exceed 30 minutes. If a resident chooses to ask questions, they are voluntarily given up their time for a response. This means that the 3-minute timer will continue to run no matter who is speaking. The timer will clearly be displayed on the screen to my left. Council, we have more than 10 speakers. I would ask if we can let each speaker speak for public comment. Is that okay with everyone?
Yes.
Yes.
Agreed.
Okay. My friends on Zoom agree as well. So Secretary Billups.
Sure. First, we have Justin Hembecker.
Good evening. My name is Justin Heimbecker. I serve as Executive Director of the Upper Darby Arts and Education Foundation. The last time I stood before you back in December, it was a challenging time for us all, to say the least. There's a lot going on with the world, and you all have plenty of problems to address and solve. I'm here to share tonight that I'm here in the spirit of gratitude, celebration, and forward momentum. And so I just want to share a few updates. We've made tremendous progress as an organization and had a few milestones over the past few months that I'd like to share. First of all, in May, the Shaner Music Man 5K welcomed nearly 700 participant runners and raised over $30,000 in scholarships and grants for young Upper Darby musicians. By summer's end, the Music Man Academy programs, which are active right now, will serve more than 200 students in jazz, strings, individuals with all disabilities, and even last week they had a masterclass with Mark Kelly from The Roots as part of their program. Our Summer Stage 50th Gala performance a few weeks ago brought nearly 200 alumni spanning all 50 years of its existence. And this summer, I'm going to be running the Summer Stage in about 3 minutes. We've already served 500 students and welcomed 16,000 audience members into the High School Performing Arts Center. Those numbers will double by summer's end. And if you need more proof that Summer Stage is pretty incredible, look no further than David Cornsweet, the new Superman, who got his start on the Upper Darby Performing Arts Center stage.
I know. Oh, sorry.
Shifting to the Spark, and I do have more goodies for the residents as well. The Barclay Square Arts and Education Center, that was the content of so much conversation over the past few years. We are running full speed ahead. There are some delays in construction, as you might expect, but we are set to open in late 2025 or early 2026. And we have a long-term sustainable business plan that's going thanks to this body and support from the community. We've actually secured more than $1 million in Match Plus funding to make sure that our rates can stay low, we can remain accessible, and be a place for everybody in the community. This space is going to feature a black box theater, a recording studio, an arts technology and innovation center, creative arts therapy, and more for all ages. And what's made all of this even better is we have had wonderful conversations with Mayor Brown, with Crandall Jones, with Rita LaRue especially. Big shout out to Rita for all of her efforts. And, you know, sometimes things aren't easy and we have to be critical and we have to have tough conversations, but we also need to give credit when credit is due. And the past several months have been an absolute pleasure. And we are really, really grateful that we've been able to move forward with that spirit of collaboration together. So thank you to everybody in the body for helping us to do that. With that said, I understand tonight there's going to be potentially an approval for $50,000 in more funding
I'm sorry. I have
for a
to,
community development block grant
sir.
to support scholarships at this new building.
Yeah.
So thank you, thank you, thank you. We really appreciate you. Have a great summer.
Thank you. I have to give everybody.
Thank you. Next we have Janine Mobley.
Hello. A few weeks ago, a neighbor's child received the whistle and spent the better part of the day blowing it over and over and over. Fortunately, I can report that after that day, the whistle found a new home on top of the refrigerator, or maybe in the trash. But this is just to say that children can be very annoying. They scream, they destroy stuff, they run around or run away or run into the street. They have no idea of private property and pick flowers. Like animals, they don't clean up after themselves. The worst, they throw balls and balls hit cars. Nevertheless, children need to play outside. They need exercise, vitamin D, a chance to encounter other people and explore their surroundings. I hear over and over, children don't want to play outside. They don't want to go out there. And I ask why. I say we've made our environment hostile to them. Children are our future. They'll be here long after your car is in the dump. Let's make it nice for them when they go outside. And just a side note, right now it's so hot that really the best time to go outside is in the evening after it's dark. So let's make it nice all day for children to go outside.
Thank you. Next, we have John Bizzari.
It won't take long. I don't have any prepared speech or anything like that, but I do want to comment on the last meeting, and it's to you, directly to you, President Tunis. So during your president's agenda, when you were speaking, Mr. Banto interrupted. You said nothing to him. You did not tell him that you had the floor. You allowed him to commandeer your time, but yet you do, when Councilor Wentz does anything, you call her out. I'm asking you over these next 10, 11 meetings that you preside over, that you treat everybody the same. You can.
Yeah. No, John, I definitely do agree with you. Try my best to treat everyone the same. In the previous meeting, Councilor Banto asked a question, which any council member can do during my report. They can ask me a question, and I can answer it. So that's how I interpret it. I'm trying my best to treat everyone the same, give everyone the same 3 minutes. But as always, John, I'll take that into consideration.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that explanation, but I somehow want to say that if that was Councilor Wentz, because you do pick on her a lot. If it was Councilor Wentz that interrupted you and asked a question, I think you would have told her that you are, you're proceeding with your agenda because you have the floor, and then you would take her question after you.
Yeah, that's all hypothetical, but Counselor Wentz has asked me questions during the president's report before. So it's not, and if she does, I'll answer it. But yeah, like I said,
No, I
I'll try my
appreciate
best to treat everyone the same, and I'll take your advice under consideration.
Appreciate it. And Mr. Banto, please pay your taxes.
Thank you. Next we have, I'm sorry if I can't pronounce your first name, but the last name is McNeil.
Hi, good evening, everybody.
Hi.
Hi, my name is Carol McNeil, and I'm new to this. I don't usually come to these meetings, but I am a mother of 8 children. I have 8 grandchildren. I'm a social worker from Widener, and I'm here on behalf of my children, my grandchildren, and my family. I went to the Upper Darby Library, and I found this book sitting in the toddler section for children that are, say, 5 or 6 years old. This book is titled, What Are Your Words? When I opened it up, this book is about a little boy who's not sure if he is a boy one day or a girl one day. So since Trump has been voted into office, I know that he is talking about not funding educational systems or libraries if they continue to promote transgender ideologies or ideologies that talk about, mutilating our bodies, teaching our children that it's okay to change sex. Trump is also encouraging parents to stop funding educational programs. And I come from a large family of Christian values, and I love my grandchildren to death. And I'm not here to disrespect anybody if they are transgender, but we do not agree with those views. And I'm just wondering, what is your policy on having these books sit in the children's section of the library? What is your policy on that, and will you be doing anything about it? My second question is, you have all gender bathrooms in the library, and I'm just wondering, will you be separating that so that males and females are not entering the same bathroom together? Will they now become just female and just male bathrooms?
Yeah, thank you for your question. Correct me if I'm wrong, CAO, the library's policies come from the library board, which is a separate board from council. I believe they have public meetings as well. If you can connect the constituent with the library board, that would be the folks more appropriate to direct that to.
Okay, that's fine then. I guess I can do that. Okay, go to the library board about it?
Yeah, the library board they oversee the policies of the library. They're separate from council.
Okay, then I guess I'll do that. One more concern I have real quick is I took this picture as I was walking in. This is the street of 69th Street and Market. And I know that the trash men are responsible for cleaning the trash up in the street. I could pass this around. This trash has been here for days.
We'll make sure to report that, okay?
If anybody wants to see it.
Yeah. Thank you. The next speaker is, glasses on, Becky Duggan.
One second, Becky. Okay. We're going to make sure someone from the administration connects with you, okay? I just have to give the next speaker the floor.
Hello, tax spenders. How are you tonight? I hope you're all well. So just a few things. One about the comment similar to what John Vazari had brought up about Councilman Banto making his comment during your president's speech or report. I found it interesting that he asked you to stop residents if we come up here and we say things that are nasty or mean to anyone on council. I challenge you to try and stop us because the First Amendment of the United States Constitution gives us the right to tell you, David Banto, to pay your taxes. It gives us the right to do that. I didn't ask you a question. I'm
was-
speaking. Don't interrupt me.
Taxes.
Stop my time. He's interrupting me. He's interrupting me. Stop him. See, why should I have to give up my time to
You
him?
have the floor.
This is my time.
You have the
This
floor.
is my time. It is my time. And I can stand here and I can say anything I want. I can say, Hafiz, I don't like your shirt. And you have to sit there. You can tell me you don't like what I'm wearing either. Because that's what the Constitution is. I can tell you I think you're doing a horrible job and I don't approve of how you've been handling things. That is my right. I can tell Myra McNeely that I wish he hadn't been appointed. I can say anything I want. I can say that $40,000 was taken from the taxpayers of Upper Darby Township to go to Ed Brown's charity. And we had to foot the bill because Rita LaRue decided it was okay, and then she got a huge raise. I can say that. I challenge you to try and stop me. Do you want to try and stop me? Do you want to put the United States Constitution up on this? I didn't think so. Hi, Matt. How are you? So I think you better think before you speak. And you make accusations, you make threats. Threatening residents? Not a good look. We vote for you. We don't work for you. You won't work for us. You work for us. Our money that you're spending. Our money. And while I have 16 seconds left, I heard about the Planning Commission meeting last night where they want to develop across the street from the, whatever that new shopping center that's not even filled yet. We bought that space on Garrett Road. It's still an empty vacant lot that's ugly. Put some grass there.
Thank you. Next, we have Terry Bradley.
Good evening, everyone. President Tunis, I want to start by saying that I am, and all of council, that I am incredibly pleased to see that Mr. Kilkenny has now been substituted or replaced by a different council. I'm beyond relieved. I did want to point it out specifically to you because the few times that I've been at council meetings, I did notice that you had ceded the central seat as president of council to Mr. Kilkenny, who's not an elected official and was appointed. Heavy is the head that wears the crown, but we elected you to sit in that throne, and we worked really hard to make sure that this council looks exactly the way that it looks, and we put our faith in you. So I'm very happy to see you taking your throne back and taking also that Mayor Brown is also sitting front and center along with the other officials. The reason why I'm here, though, is not because of that. Mr. Kilkenny has something to do with it, but it's a long history. Mayor Brown and I had a meeting at his invitation about a year ago regarding hazardous trees in our township. This is no surprise to anyone. When Barbara Ann Keffer was the mayor and Laura Wentz was president of council, she understood very well, as did Vince Rangione, God help us all, what the issue was. Bradley Tree Experts is contracted by this township to take a look at hazardous trees, and they have regularly for the last decade, before Elena, her father, before Elena was in charge, who would go up and down the streets and say, that tree has to come down, that tree is a hazard, that one's gonna come down in the next storm. Nobody can predict, no human can predict when a tree is actually come down. But looking at a tree and seeing that it is sick, that it is beyond salvaging, can indicate to a reasonable person with reasonable levels of intelligence that they create and maintain a public safety hazard. Twice now, my family has been asked to get supportive documentation, evidence from a hazard tree expert, which I did. First time around for Barbara Ann Keffer, which was then used by License and Inspection to order a tree that was in the falling area of a baby across the street, a young girl fighting leukemia, and my family that had repeatedly caused harm to property and people, to remove it. And Barbara Ann Keffer pulled that order and had Vince Rangione keep it as an open investigation so FOIAs couldn't be fulfilled. And Kilkenny was the one who advised them to do that, something that is illegal and goes against ethics. And for years, I pointed that out as an attorney and a member of the bar, and nobody here listened. Miss Billups was the only one who had the decency to come out and take a look at the trees that I pointed out. And if I may, I might just want to say,
I can just give you 10 more seconds because I gave.
Mayor Brown and I met. He made a promise to me, and it is still not fulfilled. Last week, his secretary called to make an appointment, and I still have not heard back. I will not say what Mayor Brown told me because he's not here to defend it, but I will be back, and I want to put council on notice of that.
Thank you. CEO Jones, can we just make sure someone follows up with her?
Thank you, Ms. Bradley. Next, we have Olivia Taylor.
Olivia Taylor. I left early at the last meeting, but on my way home, I turned it on. And again, just to really reiterate what other people had just said, to hear David Bonto tell Tunis that you didn't stick up for him because you had residents to come in here to attack his nationality. No one attacked your nationality, and you were referring to Reg. And what he said was, I'm sorry, excuse me. And what he said was, you're not going, no. Juneteenth is an American holiday. And what you're not going to do is Africanize it. That's not attacking your nationality. Let me be clear. It's always been me, Rich, and Brian, and God rest his soul. Not once in the 30 years we've been residents of Upper Darby Township, we ever discriminated against anybody. Do you understand? I don't care if you're from the moon. If you want to act like an ass, you're going to get called out. You understand? He's not going to tell me or anybody else to come to this podium what we can and cannot say. This is why he's getting sued. This is why he's not opening his mouth. I didn't hear him tell you not to vote when you voted to raise the property taxes. Did anybody tell him no? Did Tony tell him no? Or what about when they were passing that EIT, when he voted to take money from people? Did he tell him no, not to vote? So how the hell he gonna tell me or anybody else what to say up this podium? And here you owe almost damn near $20,000 in back taxes, and you're in here voting yes to raise other people's. You got the mitigated goal to sit there and vote yes. Here you got people struggling, don't know whether to pay for food or their medication or pay their mortgage, not because of their slacking, it's because of their finances. And she just said her neighbor is in the foreclosure. Portnoy, what's the company, Portnoy? Y'all need to find, and that goes for anybody that's in the township at home listening to this, why are they not going after him? Because the house is in his wife's name means absolutely nothing. He owes $19,000 plus in back taxes. And I can quite sure an ordinary resident doesn't owe that much, but you got I can't say it, but I could, but I'm not. Vultures going after hardworking families that are struggling while your sorry ass sit up there and owe $19,000. Y'all need to go and find out, get you a lawyer and find out why they're not going after him. To be honest, he's supposed to be setting an example. You want to sit up here on this council and make rules and laws in this township, but you owe more than the average resident. You don't have nothing to say? Of course not. Of course not. Lost my train of thought. How much time left? I got 2 minutes. But yeah, Portnoy folks, get an attorney and find out why they're not going after him.
Thank you. Next is Justine.
Counselor Wentz, there was no speak, because Counselor Wentz comment she couldn't hear. So I just want to let Counselor Wentz know the resident didn't speak.
Next we
Oh.
have Judy,
Thank you.
No
next
problem.
we have Judy Duggan.
Good evening. So I wanted to address, first of all, what went on at the planning meeting. Yes, I think it was yesterday or the day before. This is a terrible idea to put a bunch of apartment buildings or whatever at that corner there of Township Line and State Road. The traffic there is already terrible. It's just not a good idea. And I think Mike Hemphill said it best when he gave his remarks at that meeting. He said, let's fix this side of the township before we go destroy that side of the township. Second of all, the CDBG, are we going to have a public hearing on that tonight? I didn't see it on the agenda. It's there that there's a public hearing? There's a public hearing? Okay, I missed it. All right, good. I wanted to make sure there was going to be a public hearing. All right, yeah. Then the next thing, I guess, is to talk to Mr. Banto. Mr. Banto, unless you are a service member in uniform, you should remove your hat when standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. According to U.S. Flag Code, you should hold your hat in your right hand when reciting the Pledge of Allegiance, essentially holding your hat over your heart or left shoulder. An exception to this rule is military service members in uniform. I don't think you're a military service member in uniform. Please be respectful to this country and remove your hat. Well, at least you should remove it all the time when you're indoors. Mr. Minnick knows that. A man removes his hat when he's indoors. You remove your hat when you're indoors, and especially in the presence of a woman. But beyond that, especially when you're saying the Pledge of Allegiance, it's very disheartening to see the lack of respect. I guess that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Next we have Bob. I'm going to mess up your last name all the time. Thank you.
You know, I think that was a great thing that was brought up. I don't know this gentleman over here at all, but I am military, okay? 100% disabled combat. And Mr. Bly knows my history with the Marine Corps League, okay? And it is a sign of respect, sir. It really is, all right? So I'm going to start off right now. 61 and 79. 61 and 79. Okay, let me explain to you the significance of these numbers, all right? 61 is the average life expectancy of a police officer in this country, averaged out across the country. 79 is what you people are going to live to, averaged out. 61, 79, which brings me to another number, 18. 18 years, okay, that a retired police officer does not get to spend with his family. Not that he was able to spend a lot with them anyway when he was working. Now, cops don't go into the job to make money. They go inside there to serve. So that's why I ask, why were our police officers snubbed when their bargaining unit went out on a limb with the guarantee that they would get a fair, open, and honest negotiation, and it would transpire in any future contracts? No problems, right? But it would be fair and honest and open, all right? Okay, well, my lodge, our FOP, we went to bat, and the membership or the executive board gave him that endorsement. And I'll tell you right now, with that endorsement, he became elected. Believe it or not, he became elected. All right. Well, Mr. Brown's the mayor. Okay, our side, we didn't get our part of the bargain at all. Okay. Now, the administration has pretty much told the cops that we're not even going to talk to you. So now it's going to arbitration, which is going to cost our townships hundreds of thousands of dollars in legal fees, and the back pay and everything that's going to happen when this contract is finally settled. It's out of control. Okay. If there's one thing that department in this township that shouldn't have to go through this, it's our police, because when it comes to safety, our residents, we don't just expect good police service and safety. We demand it, okay? And one thing to think about right now, this is my little note, okay? Back in the late 80s, I had a veteran cop I worked with when assigned in 4 Squad, all right? A guy who was a platoon investigator, Long Marion Township Police, okay? His name's Ray Golf. Great cop. He told me this, he goes, the most important thing I've ever heard my whole career as a cop, the most important thing I ever heard, he goes, you know what? He goes, Bob, you aren't paid just for what you do day to day. Just you get the pay you get for what you might have to do. Guys, please take care of our police. They take care of us.
Thank you. Next is Susan Emery.
Oh, well, thank you. Now, here's a personal note right here. You know, I never thought my 4 decades of police work, which leads me back into police work, okay, would help me during my campaign to run for office in the 3rd District. Well, I'm going to tell you, it's coming pretty handy lately. So there's been some information shared with me about some possible inappropriate maneuvers taking place because of my run for the 3rd that may have affected someone working with me on my campaign. I won't name names, but I will get to the bottom of it. I will get to the bottom of it. Now, the 17 years I spent out in Norristown, okay, working for the district attorney's office as a narcotics agent, okay, it always brought me joy when I would have more than one person involved in drug conspiracy for distribution refuse to talk. Loved it. Because if they didn't talk, I didn't panel a grand jury. And I tell you, I love those moments. Now, what I've just told you in no way rises to that level at all. What's affecting me? Not at all. It's not criminal, and at this moment, it's all just conjecture, third-hand information. But it does show me that they're taking my run seriously, and as they should. And if proven, it'll just go to show how desperate some are to see me fail in keeping the 3rd District as it is under our current councilman. You know, when I first began my campaign, what I said to my opponent and the people on both sides, all I want is a fair and honest and spirited challenge. Said that from the beginning. Well, as the race heats up, it appears it's not heading in that direction. But I'll give it the benefit of the doubt until verification is made. And if this information is true, in an attempt in any way whatsoever to intimidate me or any of those near to me to suffer because of my run for an office, which I think is very important, which there's only a couple of conservatives left in the township, okay? The 1st and the 3rd go, that's it. Nobody will know anything going on behind the scenes. Not that I like to go ahead and give out secrets or this or that, but it's nice to have a checks and balances. But that won't happen. That won't happen. Anybody can do whatever they want. All right? So that's why, as I said, if anybody's to suffer because of my run in any way whatsoever, the gloves will come off. And if you get to know me, you'll realize when I say this, if my gloves do come off, believe me, we do not want it to come to that. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Susan Parker.
Hello. Haven't been here in probably 30 years, back in the 90s when I was a homeless advocate, and actually this council was suing my church. But anyway, for hosting Shepherd's Place, but it's been pretty exciting, and I think I might start coming. But I'm here tonight because I've lived where I have for 78 years, since 1978, and I've been a part of this community. My husband has since passed away, but we've raised our kids here. And so I want to point out that the people who collect the trash, who answer the phone when you call to make a statement or have a question, work for us. And it's not an arbitrary, what the job is the job. And the other day, it always annoys me that they put the trash can in the street. They take it off the curb, but they leave it in the street. And it's bothered me, but I would never come for that. It just annoys me. When I walk my dogs, I put people's trash can back on the curb. They don't. But the other day, we had this IKEA day bed that is huge. It's a single bed, but a box thing with drawers. And it's IKEA, so we put it together in the house, but to get it out of the house, we had to take it apart. So we put the pieces out on the curb on trash day. And the guy comes down the street, looks at it, and just keeps right on going. And so I called, and then my neighbor started taking some of the pieces. But anyway, she said, well, do you want to register a complaint? I said, well, let me see if my neighbor takes the whole thing. He didn't. But anyway, so I'm left with all this stuff. Now, I'm 77, and my son was there to carry it all back because we're not going to leave it on the curb until this was Monday. So I called and I said, I don't understand why he didn't pick it up. She didn't understand why I didn't pick it up. And I didn't register a complaint because I thought my neighbor was going to take it. But anyway, so Thursday comes around. My days are Monday and Thursday. Thursday comes around, and I went out. My son wasn't there to put it back out. And I wasn't going to do that. Like I said, I'm 77. But anyway, so they came out, and I went out and I asked the young man why they did not take the pieces of furniture that I took out. And he said, well, we'd rather have it in one piece. And I said, it wouldn't even fit out the door in one piece. But anyway, so he was trying to make excuses why he didn't pick it up. I watched him drive right past. But meantime, the woman across the street, whose husband is here, was bringing out a bag of trash. Now, they don't fill their bags very full because you're not supposed to go more than 40 cars. So they have many bags. There's no limit on the number of bags, right? So anyway, he says to me, he said, oh, well, the reason we don't pick up your trash is because of these people. And I said to him, we have a sign out there that says the world in one place. And I couldn't believe he said that. And I said, that sounds a tad racist to me. And the next person.
Yeah, so I can only have.
He's going to use his time to me.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, it's his wife who is
Understood.
bringing it out. And I don't exactly know what he said, but it was so ghastly and it was so foul. She dropped the bag and ran in the house. And when I said to him about it was just a racist thing, he said, and then he said pigs. So, but then he turns to me and he says, oh, okay, ma'am, have a nice day, in tongue in cheek. So the bottom line is these people need to know. So I go in the house. This was 10 o'clock on Thursday, July 3rd. I go in the house and I call the department and I say, the same woman I spoke to before, that actually now I do want to register a complaint. And I said, and it said I was within the hours, but the machine didn't pick up. So I left a message and I said, I would appreciate a call back. I said, what this man said, and he's just arbitrarily, whose trash? So he walked away and didn't pick up any of their trash and just took off. And she never ever called back, which, excuse me, but I pay their salary. And I'm sorry, my kids went to Byboard Elementary School where 35 languages were spoken. My kids are 41 and 43. I'm old. But the fact is, the advantage of that is amazing. They've lived all over the world. So I don't want to see this business where that guy needs to be fired. And now we've had 2 trash days since then, and no one else has complained. They've just picked up the trash. I'm putting out the pieces. My son's going to put out the pieces for tomorrow, and hopefully that kid won't be there. But the fact is that he's arbitrarily decide what he's going to pick up and what he's not going to pick up. And that he said, these people, excuse me, these people have lived there for a couple years. They've been some of the nicest neighbors. And, so I think they need a sensitivity training, or people like that needed to be canned. And the fact that this woman never called me back when I specifically asked for a call back to discuss this is a sad situation. Okay, so.
Yeah, and I'm sorry that happened. Like your kids, I went to Bywood, Beverly Hills as well. What's the address?
Oh, 2104 Green Hill Road. It's Post Office Lansdowne, but it's Upper Darby Township. You know where the Chinese restaurant is? That's Green Hill Road, right down there, one way. The one block that's one way. We live on that street. He lives across from me. I live there. I've lived there since 1978. I've been a scout leader. I've been on the board of the Y. My husband was president of the community college. We have been community people. He was on the board of the Crozier Health Services before disaster struck. So we've been community people, and I don't come and complain, but I'm coming to complain now because this is unacceptable.
Yeah,
So I'd like that guy punished or something.
no, we'll definitely look into this on your behalf. I gave the chief municipal clerk, if you can just approach her, my cards. Yeah, I gave the chief clerk my card. If we can connect and yeah, if you can give that, yes, yes, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Next is Joanne Namavag.
Joanne Namavang. I have a few things I want to talk about. Really, a lot of people hit on this stuff, but the library, despite the book issue, I agree with the issue about these books, but we need to start funding our libraries more appropriately. We expect to have, top, first-class services of the library, but yet we're not willing to pay a living wage to the people that work there. And I understand this is a sticky situation because the library is owned, I think the land is owned by the township and the building, but it's also a 501c3. But somehow it's got to get funded properly so people can earn a living to work there. Secondly, Collinbrook, I guess that's where the development that they want to do across from Drexel Line. You have empty units in Drexel Line right now. They've been sitting vacant. We got Turning Point opening in September, October. We got Jersey Mike's coming in. We had the nail salon that's been there for a couple months. But there's still a lot of storefronts that are vacant. So yet we're going to put in more storefronts, which makes no sense. People aren't going to invest in this township, not the way it is now. It's not the place, the people, I would never put a dime in this township the way it's currently being run. And also the trash, the trash that's around, the theft, the crime, the kids running rampant, and it just doesn't work. And the traffic. It's they want people to stop driving because you take all our lanes away for bike paths, which I never see anybody use. I understand you're trying to follow federal law and all that for bike paths, but honestly, I can't even get out of my church on Lansdowne Avenue because the traffic is backed up all the way into Lansdowne on a Sunday. It's crazy. Anyway, so I want to talk about Kilkenny. Somebody mentioned him. I want to know, Kilkenny cost this township probably $500,000, or I don't know how much those lawsuits cost. At least $300,000 probably in the legal fees that we paid to him to defend the lawsuits that were brought because he gave you advice that was bad. Did he ever give any of that money back? Can you answer that, Tunis?
No, not to my knowledge.
Okay, are we going to ask him for that back?
We can look into this.
Okay,
You just asked me. So,
yeah, no, I know,
yeah.
I understand. I think it's something that really needs to be done. He really did a number on this township, and somebody's got to make him pay. Financially, yeah. And then I just want to also address what Ms. Parker said about the trash men. Now that I don't know who picks up her trash, and I don't know if it's oh, I'm out of time already. That was quick.
I could send 10 seconds. You got 10 seconds if you want to just. Yeah, I gave someone 10 seconds.
I just wanted to say that, despite this one trashman, that the trashmen on my street actually do an excellent job, although they do leave the cans in the street, which I don't like. But I don't like that. But they're good. A lot of them are good guys, so I don't want everybody to think that they're all bad. We might have one bad or a few bad, but most of them are good, I think. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Jean Kosha. I know.
Okay, good evening, everyone.
I'd like to say good evening to all the members of council and also to my fellow residents of Upper Darby. My name is Jean Kosha and I work at the library, but I want to make it clear that I'm speaking tonight as a resident. Although I work at the Upper Darby Township Library and may speak about library issues, I am not speaking on behalf of the library. I am speaking as a tax-paying resident. I would like to clarify some of the advocacy I've been doing in regards to the library. For those who don't know, the library is a 501c3, a nonprofit institution that is not a department of the township. We know that. While it is not a department of Upper Darby, it does get 85% of its funding from the township. 2 of the 3 buildings and property are owned by the township. So while it's not a department, it does have a close relationship to the township. For example, some of the maintenance done at our buildings is handled by the township. Snow removal, grass cutting is too. The library does have its own board of trustees who make decisions about the library and request funding from the township so we can function as an institution. I am not really interested in coming to council meetings to constantly ask that you recognize that the library needs greater funding in order to thrive. But somebody's got to do it because I don't think it's happening. All right, I think that there are some breakdowns in the communication. And this has been an issue that is not just this past year or the year before. This is decades of underfunding the library. So when I come to you, it's not because I want to be here, it's because I feel like there's no other way to get the message out there. And that's why I come to all these meetings. By not funding the library and paying low wages, we've already seen highly talented staff leave, staff who speak multiple languages. I've heard colleagues say that it's so hard to work at the library for so little compensation, yet they love working there. We love the work we do. We love serving the public. That's our passion. But passion doesn't pay the bills. In case the public doesn't know, up until last spring, the spring of 2024, the desk staff was earning $13 an hour. It went up to $14 an hour after we advocated to the library board. And in January, with the $100,000 that the township council gave and the mayor's budget, they were able to increase to $15 an hour. $15 an hour is not enough. The library workers deserve better. Do you know the talent that exists at our library? Oh my God. One of our members of staff was on the Caldecott Award Council. That's a national award for Picture Book of the Year. One of our library staff members did that. That's amazing. Okay, we deserve funding. We deserve fair wages.
Thank you. Next, we have Corey Dixon.
Good evening, council. Good evening to my fellow Upper Darby residents. I actually have a few things I want to talk about tonight, so I'm going to try to be quick. Firstly, I also live in the 7th District along with Ms. Parker. I'd like to say that that trash situation is in fact somewhat dire. As someone who lives where trash is picked up in the back alleyway, more times than not, all the trash is not collected. Trash cans find themselves in the middle, where more times than not, a lot of them actually get run over, which ironically doesn't make much sense to me because the alley is meant to be private. People still drive through. Nonetheless, the main reason I'm here tonight is to talk about some of our teens who recently were invited to the DCL, Delaware County Library's board meeting earlier this month to present on their trip to Harrisburg earlier in the year. I was lucky enough to go along with Ms. Kosha behind me. And I was very much so proud to be able to see these teens talk about the different things that they found interesting about their trip, the inspirations that they found, and the advocacy in which they're looking to put back into their community. As one who has had the opportunity to watch many of these kids evolve, not just as people, but as citizens of communities, it was really great to see them talk about how they look to involve themselves. I also went on that trip to Harrisburg earlier this year, which was sponsored partly by Representatives Boyd and Curry, who actually sponsored for us to get a bus over there because of the fact that with a lack of funding, sometimes not all of the things that we need to do the things that we can are possible. So thanks to them, we were able to go, and it was thanks to our advocacy for libraries, these teens who are looking to put themselves out there to talk about the things that they care about, that they were able to get this bus, to be able to travel, and they spent their day there. They were presented on the House floor in front of these representatives who got an opportunity to see these teens who very much so care about the things that go on in their communities. They had an opportunity to spend lunch with House Speaker McClellan, who mentioned only having time for 2 questions and ended up spending most of the afternoon with them because of the fact that she saw the inspiration in them, the opportunities that carried along with them, with the opportunities that they bring as young individuals who have a future ahead of them. One of these teens actually asked to interview me today on a project that they're doing with a program that they're doing through a state college, asking about how I felt about situations such as funding for SEPTA and different things I'd like to see improve in the community. And through this interview, it gave me an opportunity to see that not only are we giving kids a chance to see what goes on behind the scenes, but it gives them an opportunity to grow, to become these people of the next generation, to make sure that these things are done in the orderly fashion. So these are the things that we have to look out for. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Jamila Everett. No?
I think Ms. Albert.
Okay. Next, we have Justin Cohen.
Good evening, everyone. Justin Cohen, 7218 Brent Road. Come before you this evening with 2 issues. Number 1, in my capacity as the chaplain for all veterans in Delaware County, 22 veterans commit suicide every day. In a few weeks here, beginning on September 4th, there's going to be a 12-week support course on trauma recovery called Reboot. It's going to be held at the ANZETS post down in Morton, but I'm here to get the word out to the Upper Darby residents and all Upper Darby veterans. May I pass this stack of flyers?
To the municipal clerk. And Kate, can you just keep a copy for my colleagues on Zoom that may not get this information?
And I can also send that out electronically as well. So thank you for all of the support that you've always shown towards the veterans community. We appreciate it. My second issue here is, as a resident of Brent Road, about a year ago, maybe longer, we signed up for and had a petition go down our street for permit parking. So my question is, what's the deal? Why is it taking so long? What's going on? The police department have come and followed up on it to do their due diligence, from what I understand. And now, if I understand it correctly, somebody wants to do a study or wants to put it to some committee. A committee and a study is not necessary. The residents want it. We signed a petition. Let's get to it. And that's the bottom line. Thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you. Next, we have Sandra Gillardy.
Hello, I'm here for the first time doing this, and something happened last week in our neighborhood that just got me so angry that I had to finally speak out in person after trying emailing and calling both the One Center and several of council members. We have been dealing, we meaning my mother will be 97. Pardon me? Oh, my mother, who's here, will be 97 in December, and she's lived in our house since 1953. We're on Briarcliff Road. We border Cobbs Creek Park. And my 2 neighbors that just had to leave because of a family emergency, they live 2 doors up from me at 631. they've been here 20 years. So in that time that my mother's lived here, we've had multiple neighbors of all kind of ethnic groups, nationalities, even white trash. And we've never had the problem that we have this past year, which is a serious, serious roach infestation dealing to a plumbing issue that started with an owner of 5 years in 2029. He sold it last June, and the new owner of 1 year starting his second year now. The roaches for us started last August. We were like, what's this? So we called an exterminator, and they were only in the kitchen, and you have to either pay $200 for one visit and then another visit 200, or you do a year contract where they come 3 times a month, every 3 months, but they can come more often, which ends up to be $400 some anyway, but you need more than one treatment. So we opted for that, and it was insane. By November at Thanksgiving, I spent the whole day killing the roaches in my kitchen with home defense because the oven was creating the problem. And I didn't know about roaches because I never grew up with them. I just knew I tested allergic to roaches after dust, and I kind of laughed at the time because when am I around a roach? I don't live in Florida. So I'm talking to these exterminators, learning about roaches, which nobody wants to talk about because they're so gross, but it's not cleanliness. Roaches are with dampness, darkness, and water. So they kept saying, where are these roaches coming from? They're not in your entire house. And I knew what went on next door, and I knew all about the plumbing problem. So I started to explain to these guys, and they said it's coming from next door. And if we don't treat next door, this is going to get worse. So I had already written to the One Center earlier in the fall of last year because the new neighbors that moved in were Hispanic. They didn't speak English. Nobody explained to them the trash rules, and the trash was a nightmare. They didn't know about bags. I had raw chicken, I had eggs, I had food. It was gross. We have squirrels, we have birds, we have raccoons, we have possums, and we have groundhogs in the summer. So I kept sending photos of the trash because I knew Elle and I.
Yeah, so, ma'am,
The final thing, what happened, I finally got a reply from LNI Supervisor, Mr. Singh, who I've been writing. Some of you I've written to Mr. Bantu, I've written to Laura Wentz, and we need help. So finally tonight, I got an email and said I can call him tomorrow because now we have roaches going from our house 5 houses up.
Thank you, ma'am. Your time is up. And Mr. Singh, if you can please loop in Councilor Banto and all council members at large with the conclusion of this issue.
I hope they reach out to me.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Lee Jordan.
Good evening, Lee Jordan, 90 Pilgrim Lane. You've heard a few speakers talk about this already, but I'm here to talk about the potential new development across from ShopRite. I think council did get an email about what it would look like. There's 2 plans, Plan A and Plan B. As you know, in Upper Darby, open space is pretty precious. We really don't have any open space. And I'm thrilled that we have a developer that has an interest in Upper Darby Township, but taking away the very precious open space that we have is not the answer. You drive around the township, there are abandoned buildings, there are plenty of other places that we can rebuild and repurpose in this township, but not take away the open space. The proposal, the ground is already privately owned, which we're all aware of, and it's not the first time that somebody's wanted to build on it, but all the administrations, it's been empty for 124 years, realize how precious this open space is and why we need to keep it the way it is. It's the gateway into Upper Darby. You drive down Route 1 North, you see the steeple in Collinbrook, and right behind that is all the trees. It's a very small piece of land, it's 10 acres. Another reason is why we really can't have a new development is the only people who benefit from it are the developers. Okay, we, the residents, will pick up the taxes and the strain that it's going to have on the police, the fire, the trash, even though they're not in favor right now. And, and the number one thing is our school district. Our school district cannot handle one more child. We need to take care of the students that are in our schools and the residents that are here in the township. So I am asking you, I'm not really sure what the process is, but I think eventually this may end up here at council. But in order for the Plan B to go through, which means a change to our zoning policy, which means changing it to multi-use, which will be townhouses, apartments, and commercial real estate, I'm asking you please all to vote it down. We had to come up with a plan to try to preserve what we have in this township and to take care of the residents that currently are living here. And I just took some pictures of like, this is really what would be leaving if you develop that. We have deer in that backyard. We have foxes. Collin Brook, which is an historical site, which is where all the children from the district go back and play in the woods. And a lot of them never have been in woods before. So it is something very precious that I want you to be aware of. And I hope that I have your support to make sure this doesn't go any further.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Jordan.
Next, we have Richard A. Bly.
I tell you, God orders all steps. He does. God orders all steps. Richard A. Bly. I believe in the United States of America as a government of the people, by the people, for the just powers are derived from the consent of the governed, a democracy and a republic, a sovereign nation of many sovereign states, a perfect union and one and inseparable, established upon the principles of freedom, equality, justice, and humanity for which the American patriots sacrificed their lives and fortunes. I therefore believe it is my duty to my country to love it, to support it in its constitution, to obey its laws, to respect this flag, and to defend it against all enemies. William Tyler Page, The American Creed. The American Creed is a short patriotic declaration outlining core American values and beliefs. It emphasizes popular sovereignty, representative government, and the importance of individual duties to a nation. It is officially adopted by the U.S. House of Representatives in 1918. Here's a breakdown of the key elements. Government of the people, by the people, for the people. This foundational concept, popularized by Abraham Lincoln, highlights the idea that political power resides in its citizenry. Just powers derived from the consent of the governed. Number two, this principle, rooted in the Declaration of Independence, emphasizes that the government's legitimacy comes from the agreement of the people it governs. Number three, democracy in a republic. This phrase acknowledges the dual nature of the U.S. system, where citizens elect representatives, republic, to make decisions on behalf democracy, sovereign nation of many sovereign states. Number four, this refers to the balance of power in the U.S. federal system, where individual states retain certain powers while also being united under a national government. Five, perfect union, one and inseparable. This phrase underscores the ideal of a unified nation, emphasizing the importance of national unity and cohesion. Number six, duty to country. This creed outlines specific duties, including loving the country, supporting the Constitution, obeying its laws, respecting the flag, and defining a nation against enemies, both foreign and domestic. You insult my brother, Brian Sharif Taylor. You insult this Marine. You insult the Army, the Navy, the Air Force. You insult the Coast Guards. You insult the Space Force. You insult these officers. You insult these firemen. You insult this dais. And you have the audacity to talk to me about a word, about a context that I got started here. Let's talk about getting things started. And I'm going to leave you with this. Remember, Liberian Independence Day is coming. When you look at this picture, remember who was the inspiration. Who's standing there with the flag, though, Toon? It's not you.
But you weren't the inspiration.
No, who's there? Now you want to argue?
Thank you. Your time is up.
Take time to argue it.
Your time is up.
Thank you.
Time is up,
You
Mr.
want
Bly.
to take time?
Get him out of here. His time is up.
You're
The first one, and I asked him to remove from the
You're
dais.
arguing with me.
I'm asking
You're arguing with history. You can't
asking
deny
officer to
it.
remove him from the dais.
Thank you.
You can get mad.
I'm asking. I'm not mad.
Get mad.
Your time's just up.
Thank you. Thank you.
Your time is up. You can leave the microphone. This is your first warning, and I gave him his 10 seconds. Your time is up. Your time is up. I'm not even in this picture. Thank you.
Black American.
The next item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes. I want to make a request for council to approve the July 2nd, 2025 council meeting minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion made by Councilor Blackwell, seconded by Councilor Brandis.
I
All in
have a
favor?
concern.
I'm sorry, Councilor Wentz.
I have a concern.
Oh, okay, I apologize. I made the vote before I heard you. What is your concern?
You can't, you,
Okay.
I, within the moment of saying second, I said I had a concern.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. You're on Zoom, and I'm apologizing for that. I just stated I didn't hear you.
You didn't even call for a vote. I couldn't even hear a vote. I was saying I have a concern and you were rushing ahead. You have to ask, are there questions or concerns as per Robert's Rules of Order?
Councilor Wentz, what I was stating was there's a motion and second on the floor. I moved too fast. I do apologize. Is there
I
any
have a
questions or concerns
concern.
from council?
I was fast
you
on
have the
saying I
floor.
had concern.
You have the floor, Councilor Wentz.
Thank you. But have you already voted on it?
We did not vote, and you have the floor. And
Okay,
I'm giving you
great. I just wanted
giving
to
you the
make
floor.
sure. Okay, so my concern is in the minutes, in the public forum minutes, John DeMasi and possibly a couple others, the description of what he said was very limited. It was more descriptive when he when residents gave their time to him, but when it was specifically his time to speak, it was a very limited description of what he talked about, and he talked about more than what was described. And my concern is that it's a violation of the Sunshine Act.
Any comments from our solicitor?
The Sunshine Act requires that the minutes, sorry, I'm not as loud as Mr. Clark. The Sunshine Act requires that the minutes describe the person that was speaking in a general summarization of what they spoke about. I'm looking at the summary of the minutes. It indicates that John DeMasi of 706 Stainbridge Road urged the council to investigate various issues he proposed. The Sunshine Act does not require that there be a listing of everything that was discussed or that there be a transcript of any comments that were given.
I understand. I understand that it doesn't require a transcript, but he talked about more than that, and I'm concerned that that would be a violation. And I would hope that we can hold off on voting on it and have the a little bit more be added to his comments.
So I do not believe that the minutes as proposed violate the Sunshine Act. However, if a majority of council would like to direct the chief clerk to revise the minutes consistent with what Councilor Wentz is suggesting, that's certainly the council's prerogative.
So Councilor Wentz, are you making an amendment or what?
Then I make a motion to table the minutes to the next meeting.
Is there a second on the floor?
Sure, I'll second that motion.
There's a motion and a second on the floor to table the minutes. I'm going to ask Secretary Billups for a roll call vote on the motion.
Of course.
So Councilor West, just for clarification's sake, you're making a motion to table the approval of the minutes of our last meeting?
Yes, so that there can be additional, so that more can be added to John DeMasi's statement, describing more of what he discussed. Because there is more discussion, there is more clarification on as to what other speakers had said, and there's very little on what he said when it was just him speaking.
All right, thank you.
For himself.
I got you, thank you. Secretary Billups is a no. Councilor, Vice President Minnick?
No.
Councilor Wagner is excused. President Tunis?
No.
Councilor Banto?
No.
Councilor Brandis?
I am going to say no, but I do want to premise this that this is also a public view via video, which is considered, if I'm not wrong, public record.
Yes, the video is publicly available.
Then I am no.
Councilor Andrewsko.
Come back to me.
Okay, I'll come back to you, Councilor Andrewsko. Councilor Wentz?
Yes, to table.
Gotcha. Councilor Silva?
Yes.
Councilor Blackwell?
No, based on it, it's on record, public record.
Thank you. Councilor McNeely?
No.
Thank you.
Councilor Andrewsko?
Councilor Andrewsko?
No. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Thank you.
Councilor Andrewsko, we didn't hear you.
We didn't hear your vote.
Sorry, I'm a no vote.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 no, 1 excuse, and 2 yes.
All right, thank you. So the motion is still on the floor. All in favor to approve the July 2nd, 2025 council meeting minutes, say aye.
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 Any opposed?
No.
No.
Okay. It passes 8 yeas, 2 nays, and 1 excused. CAO Jones, is there a report from the mayor, from the administration?
No.
Okay. The next item on the agenda is the president of the council, Councilman Tunis. President Tunis, I'm sorry. I want to thank everyone for taking the time to come here today. Our next council meeting, it's in August 6th. I'm right here in the council meeting. As you know, we'll be having different recreation meetings throughout the community, which is posted on the township website. And your voices are needed so we can make the proper decisions. I also want to just, Ms. Jordan, if we can connect on your public comment, that would be lovely. That's all I have regarding my report. The next item on the agenda is our Chief Administrative Officer, Crandall O. Jones.
Thank you, Mr. President. Council, you have before you a request for council to approve Resolution 20-25, which is an approval of PennDOT policy and procedure for consultant selection for the 69th Street multimodal grant from Walnut Street to Marshall Road. The council did have a presentation at the last meeting, but I did want to add, so that for the record, that the grant amount is $2,274,377, and there's an $846,000 match from the township that's required, and that match will come from our liquid fuels funds. This resolution is a procedural resolution since it's a part of the requirement from PennDOT's multimodal transportation fund, and it's done to complete the policy and procedures for consultant selection according to PennDOT rules.
Okay, is there a motion on the floor to? Motion made by Councilor Blackwell.
Second.
Seconded by Councilor Brandis. There's a motion second on the floor. Is there comments, questions from members of council?
I
Councilor
do.
Wentz?
Yes. I'm sorry. Apparently I had not realized that the liquid fuels would be funding the match. Is that normal? I don't remember that happening before. So I just, and you said it was 2 million? Sorry.
The grant itself is $2,274,377, and $846,000 is the township's match from liquid fuels. And yes, it's we did check with PennDOT, and liquid fuels is a legitimate, it's happened before, a legitimate source of matching funds.
Okay, but on our liquid fuels, do we still have enough of those funds to work on repairing on other things that it pays for?
Yes. As a matter of fact, there had been kind of a backlog over the years of liquid fuels funds that had built up. So we do have the funds. The 2025 roads project bid proposals, I think it's about to be issued. So I mean, we do have funding for roads.
So how much is left in the liquid fuels fund?
I can get back to you and let everybody know the exact amount is remaining, I'll do that.
Great, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Does that conclude your remarks, Councilor Wentz?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Are there further any comments, concerns from members of council? Seeing none, all in favor to approve?
I'm sorry.
Secretary
CAO Jones, CAO Jones, when, do we have a timeline when this project will start?
I think it should start soon. They have to go through this process actually to select the consultant related to the project. So once we, if you pass this, we submit the application, the resolution that's attached, the PennDOT resolution that's attached to it, that says the council has adopted this. And then PennDOT has to go through its review period and some steps, and then we'll put out the bid. And then there's an evaluation process that goes along with the bid that PennDOT also has to evaluate. So we don't know what their timing is yet, but we'll keep you apprised as it moves forward.
Well, I'm sorry, one more question. That's leading me to another question. So do projects like this typically, I don't know if you can answer this, since it's PennDOT. Do projects like this typically take, after they go through their whole process, do projects like this typically take like weeks or months?
Usually months.
Okay.
And depending on the complexity of the project, sometimes it takes longer. I mean, you're kind of at the mercy of PennDOT and all of the subcontractors that they use in terms of doing projects, both in terms of even the construction and even the consulting. And if they have to go through an evaluation process, our engineer will be working along with them all along, and we'll move our process. But once we put it in their hands, it's kind of up to them in terms of what their speed is. But typically, I'd say it's a months-long project.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. If there's no further questions or comments from members of council, all in favor of resolution number 2125, all in favor of resolution number 2025, approval of the PennDOT policy and procedure for consultant selection for the 69th Street Multimodal Grant from Walnut Street to Marshall Road. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, passes with 10 and 1 excused. CAR? I'm sorry. The next item on the agenda is resolution number 2125 to approve program year 51 action plan for the CDBG home and ESG programs. Is there a motion to open a public hearing for this resolution?
Motion.
Motion made by Secretary Billups. There's a second on the floor?
Second.
Second made by Councilor McNeely. There's a motion second on the floor. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The public hearing is now open. This is a public hearing on resolution number 2125 to approve program year 51 action plan for CDBG, home and ESG programs. If there's any members of the public that would like to comment, the floor is yours.
I just have a question on, there's something on here called ESG 2025, 149,000, and I'm reading that that's.
I'm sorry, Ms. Nominov, just 1 second. Ms. LaRue, if you can have a seat just to answer some of the questions. I apologize, Ms. Nominov.
That's okay. Okay, it says it's for emergency, including street outreach, emergency shelter construction, emergency shelter operation, homelessness prevention, rapid rehousing, data collection, administration. Activities may be performed by an appropriate subrecipient or by Upper Darby Township, or through a subcontractor. So I guess my concern is, with the history that this township has with the people who actually typically provide these services in our township, and the amount of animosity there is and the hatred it seems that I see from this township towards those individuals that run a lot of these programs currently. I'm concerned that this money won't actually get spent. So if this money is not spent, what happens to this money? And how long do you have to, is this, what's the time frame for spending this money? And then if it doesn't get spent, what happens to it?
Yes, that the ESG is the Emergency Solutions Grant, and it is allocated to municipalities for the reasons that you read. In 2023, the township received an ESG grant, and it was awarded to Shri Hupp Student Run Housing of Philadelphia, also known as Breaking Bread.
Right.
The subrecipient agreement was executed, and they have until end of November 2025 to spend those funds. If they do not spend those funds, it is returned to the federal government. The township keeps a close eye on their reimbursements, and they are on track to spend all of those funds by the end of November 2025.
So that was their 2023 money.
Yes.
So did they get something for 2024?
The township did not get ESG funds for 2024.
So when does a township decide who gets this ESG money for this 2025 year? When will that decision be made?
It's still to be determined how that decision is going to be made. So what the vote tonight will do is to allow the township to file with the federal government that we do intend to use those funds and to allocate them. But the process by which we are going to allocate, whether, as you said, the township will do it directly or give it to subrecipients or a subrecipient, is still to be determined.
Mm-hmm. So that the one that currently, the Shri Hupp or whatever it's called, is that still an organization that still operates within this township?
Yes, it does.
Okay, thank you. I know who it is.
Are there any members of the public that would like to comment on resolution number 2125?
Hello. So I see here one of the listings is for the Foundation for Delaware County. So all of this money, though, stays in Upper Darby Township. Delaware County will commit to having it all stay here.
Yes, it must all serve the residents of Upper Darby.
Okay.
So the nonprofits in here, like Breaking Bread, Recovery Without Barriers, are these are community-based organizations that are here to help the township. I'm sorry. Recovery Without Barriers. It's not on here?
These are the subrecipients that we are recommending award to. This does not include applications that were submitted by various organizations.
Recovery Without Barriers was I'm just angry. They have been the foundation of this township for the past 10 years, before Breaking Bread and all the other nonsense that's opening up here. So why? Because she's a Republican? She speaks out against this community, this administration? Or maybe because she's Caucasian, she's being overlooked. Because see, I was down at 69th Street too. But because of my knee, I couldn't do it anymore. See, this was back in 2016, before Breaking Bread and all the other nonprofits this money is going to. Where were they at when we were out there giving out food to the homeless? The people that you made homeless. This came out of our pocket. And you mean to tell me the last organization that's been out here longer than all the other ones that's getting this money, they're not getting anything?
Everybody that is being recommended to council for approval in this action plan is in that document.
I don't see them on here, so you're saying that they're not on here?
They are not on here.
You're disgusting. All of you are disgusting. You're disgusting. Remember this.
I just have kind of a logistical question. So we have these public hearings, but you have the public hearings after you've already decided. After the decision place. So when you say you get community input, that's not exactly true. Because you don't get community input because you have the hearings and all the input after the decisions have been made. So do you feel that that follows the spirit of what HUD really wants? I might follow the letter of their rules, but does it follow the spirit for community involvement?
The township put out the call for applications at the beginning of May 2025.
I'm not talking about applications.
The public notices went out in June of 2025. This was introduced July 2nd to council. This is the recommendation to council. Council may vote on it
I'm talking about the
tonight.
public hearings for community input.
Yes,
You made the decisions before you had any community input. I understand you had applications, but I didn't have a chance to discuss what applications.
We did have the first public hearing
I was
in
here,
June on
but you already had the list of people you were giving the money to.
We also have, yes, that was the recommendation. That is the process, is for the township to make recommendations and then for the community to comment on it.
So my comment is that you need to give money to Recovery Without Barriers. I understand there was some sort of issue because of the power outages with the storms and issues with things with the system. Seems convenient that you already make your selections very quickly, it seems.
I appreciate the comment. We also received 16 comments through the survey that has been posted on the website for the last several weeks. We received comments through email, and we received comments at the first public meeting.
Did HUD determine the deadline for the application?
No, HUD does not determine a deadline, nor do they determine how the township makes those allocations.
Okay, well, I'm going to look at all of you here. All of you sitting up here. I'm going to urge you to include Recovery Without Barriers in this. This is their recommendation. This is Ms. LaRue's recommendation. Somebody needs to look at Recovery Without Barriers application and give them some money. I'm going to urge you to all stand up and do the right thing. Or sit there and do the right thing. You all know, Michelle, I'm pretty sure you've been out there. You see it. You've been there. I think we all need to maybe, they made a recommendation, she said. Are we just going to do whatever the recommendation was, or are we going to stand up and do the right thing? Give Recovery Without Barriers some money. It's possible. You keep an awful lot of money for administrative fees. Awful lot of money for administrative fees. Whew. It's crazy how much money you keep for administrative fees to pay salaries. So give Recovery Without Barriers some money.
Just following along about Recovery Without Barriers, we all know that this township will never give money to Recovery Without Barriers because when Barbara Ann Keffer was here and she said to Tina Hamilton, I will never work with you. And so it seems as though this township is following through. So I think you're following through with that mantra, we will never work with you. Okay, you're biased, and we all know that. It's disgusting. And also, just for the record, HUD, I believe, requires community input. You guys don't. This is just, it's a farce. Your community input is a farce. Community input means that you let the community say what they think it should be used for. Okay, you didn't do that. You just put certain things out there. You don't give anyone a chance. Judy tried to go to one of your meetings and you asked her, what nonprofit are you representing? Well, why do you have to be a member of a nonprofit to go to the meeting? So it's supposed to be public, but you guys are making it so you're choosing. And Scott Alberts told me this to my face. He said, this is political. He said, we choose in the past. He said, in the past, it's always been done politically about your political affiliation. He said that. And I don't believe it's changed. He says, yeah, we're trying to change that. It's a lie. You're not changing it. We all know it.
This gets to the HUD and the official comments. But we all know the full comments will go through.
Okay, I'm going to second what Becky says. These aren't really public hearings when you've already made your decision. So the 16 comments that you received on the website, can you tell me where they are on the website? Because I'm looking around for them and I'm not coming up with them.
It's Community and Economic Development /CDBG.
And then I'll find the 16 comments that people sent in.
You'll find where you can make comment.
No, I want to see the comments that people made. These are supposed to be public comments. These are supposed to be public hearings. If you hide people's comments, they're not public anymore. So can I find the public comments that people emailed you on the website?
No, not at this time.
Well, that's not public then. Do you understand that? Like,
Yes.
how's that public when only you and your friends can see it? I want to see what people said. That's a problem, okay? That's a problem with being public. Do you guys understand this at all? Public. My second question is, you know how much I care about this because I did, attend the Zoom meeting for the applicants for the nonprofits, and I was discouraged from doing that strongly. And I said, well, HUD encourages strongly public input, so I'm trying to be publicly inputting. But I was strongly discouraged to come, but I did. But can you tell me how many nonprofit applications you received?
I think it was about 10.
10?
Yes.
And you approved 4 of them, 4 of them?
Yes.
And 2 of them, 3 of them, 4 of them have, just partial Upper Darby residents and help lots of other people too. There's really very little to do with Upper Darby there, so that's great. I don't know who the other ones were. Maybe they were even worse. I don't know. I know Murphy's Giving Market says that they keep close track of where you live and what food you take so they can see that they make sure that, you took a loaf of bread, that's $1.99, so that's how much they spent from HUD for Upper Darby. But I don't know if I can't see that. So again, that should be public.
We do require that they serve Upper Darby residents and that they prove it. And every year we go through a monitoring process.
So can I see that?
Where we go to their location.
Can I see the report of how many Upper Darby residents they served, how much dollar equivalent? I know they give food, they're not giving dollars. How many dollar equivalent they're giving to Upper Darby to make sure that they're giving $50,000 worth of food to Upper Darby residents?
I will look into whether we can make that public in the manner that you're suggesting. Yes.
It should be because, I'm still very upset, as are all the people behind me, that I'm paying back for the money that you gave to Ed Brown's charity. And I don't want to give back for these people. When HUD finds out that you're giving this money to people that don't, aren't being careful with giving it to Upper Darby people. And I'm not accusing Murphy's, that's just an easy one. Probably the Domestic Abuse Project might be easier to say. Is that just an Upper Darby thing, or is that a Delaware County thing?
They have a satellite office in Upper Darby.
Do they just serve Upper Darby residents in their satellite office? Or can I walk across 63rd Street and come into Upper Darby from Philadelphia?
I don't know their policy on that, but I
Right,
do
but you
know that
should.
who they serve has to be an Upper Darby resident.
Do they keep a record of it?
Yes,
And you have that record?
we monitor them. I do not have the records in the building at all times. And I will
Where
look
are
at-
they then, if they're not in the building?
They're with the subrecipient. So I will look into whether and how we
You're
can
not
make that
using-
transparent.
That seems like really little supervision or oversight. And
We follow
again,
the HUD guidelines for monitoring.
what?
We follow the HUD guidelines for monitoring.
Okay, go check on that. You checking these things out for me, Jess? All right, good. Let me know what you find out. Because this is important, because this is, again, like our taxes are too high. And they're only going to go up when I got to pay more money back to HUD, when HUD finds out that we're doing this wrong and that wrong and that wrong and this wrong. I guess that's all I got to say right at this moment.
I'm really heated that recovery without barriers is not on this list. When I was doing this, we bought supplies that was coming from out our pocket. Do you understand? We get donations from the community, from people who bought water and gave clothes. And we're the community. All these places right here, I don't see these people. I don't see them going door to door and collecting cans and old clothes that they don't need. See, that's the things we used to do. We still do. You understand? This is what recovery without barriers. This is what they did. Water, old shoes, old clothes, and we took them down there. Even during the COVID period. I myself made sure my first responders were good. That came out of my pocket. I'm not with the organization, but I'm not taking credit for that. See, this is what a community-based organization does. We care about the community. We go door to door, and that's what we did. You didn't know we gave out turkeys last year either, did you? No, because see, we don't need the accolades. We did. We also gave out book bags too. Not that I ever heard you do anything. See, this is what we do. You didn't know that until I just spoke on it. All the community, this is what we do. Okay, and the fact that these people are not on here is absolutely disgusting. They were here before the farmers market, Murphy's Market, the housing. I guess that's breaking bread. We were here before all of this. And I'm just disgusted that you overlooked this person. Because the one leader who's not here, God rest her soul, she spoke out against the crap that was going on here, and Barbara and Keffer. And so you're still gonna hold that against these people who do more for this community than anybody listed on here. And I said it, and I dare anybody from this list to come see me. Because see, we've been in the community about 10 plus years giving back. And like I said, I came out of my pocket to make sure our first responders were good during COVID. That came out of my money. I took care of our police department before the incident happened in here. See, we serve our community. We got some good officers, and I still respect them. I don't respect what happened to me. I respect the good officers, not tyrants. Let's be clear. Now, because we have some good officers who stand by us and look at what we do and actually come down. There have been times I've seen them down at 69th Street with the recovery and make sure that they're safe. And to not have them is absolutely disgusting. I'm disgusted. Somebody needs to notify HUD because they didn't get the public's input. They had already chose who they was going to give this money to. And I guarantee they're gonna mess up. They gonna do something because they stupid. Okay? And then this is where we're gonna come and we're gonna make sure that they're aware of what's happening here.
So I have a couple questions with regards to the recipients on this list. First, when it's titled Program Year 51, can you explain exactly what that means? Because I think you mentioned that in 2023, there was a grant and they have up until 2025 to spend.
The Emergency Solutions Grant.
Okay.
Yes.
And what about the actual recipients, like the nonprofits?
So the subrecipients, those are the community development block grants. So that's separate from ESG.
Okay.
And we are in Upper Darby's program, year 51. So for the federal government, we're actually in year 2025 fiscal year.
Okay.
Our year runs from October of 2025 through September of 2026.
Got it.
Practically speaking, Upper Darby receives the allocation from Congress in late December, early January of each year. So starting with last year, although the township has multiple years to expend the CDBG block grant, for the subrecipients, we require they spend it within the 1 year. It's better for the accounting and for keeping them on track with reimbursements, which affects the township's timeliness.
Okay, thank you. I do have a couple questions. So my next question with regards to on this program year 51, Cobbs Creek Housing, Murphy's Giving Market, the Foundation for Delaware County Domestic Abuse Project, have they been recipients from previous program years?
Yes.
Okay, so they're every year basically, or every year?
I'd want to double check to know exactly how many years each of them have or haven't been on the list. But yes, I believe they all have.
And the reason why I asked that, because then in 2022, and when we started to disperse or allocate ARPA funds, Foundation for Delaware County was granted 3 separate grants, one for 66,400, 85,000, and 15,000. Now, they didn't spend all of that. Their $66,000 grant, they spent about 36,000. Their $85,000 grant, they spent about 55,000, and their $15,000 grant, they spent, looks like they spent all of it. Similarly, Cobbs Creek Housing had received 79.9 when it was allocated to them back in 2022, which they were spending through 2023, and now they're getting 120,000. And that's my concern, is that I don't begrudge any nonprofit getting any funds to help them do the good work that they do. But it seems like the same people we're granting money to, and we're not taking into consideration other nonprofits like Recovery Without Barriers, who does great work in this township. So that is a concern, and I know other people have already, spoke on that. But I do think they need to be considered. Now, you mentioned that there was a public hearing on the allocation of this, but I think you said July 2nd, if I heard you correct?
June 26th.
Was the public hearing?
That was the first public hearing. Thursday, June 26th.
So it was a separate meeting, not
Yes.
not at a council meeting?
Correct.
Okay. All right, they're my questions. Thanks.
Thank you.
So Rita, what's the difference between home housing rehabilitation and CDBG housing rehabilitation?
So for the first time, Upper Darby is accepting the home capital H, capital O, capital M, capital E reinvestment funds. That is a separate allocation from the Community Development Block Grant home rehabilitation. So there's about $500,000 in each bucket that is being recommended to council for approval. The rules are different about how those funds can be spent. The Home Partnership Improvement Fund can actually be spent for projects with developers to do new housing, for instance, whereas home rehabilitation is strictly for rehabilitation, bringing properties that are owner occupied up to code, lead remediation, et
Okay,
cetera.
yeah, so, because I was reading the descriptions, and the descriptions look exactly the same, so I couldn't see any difference.
Because it's the first year that the township has the home partnership funds, it was recommended to us by our consultant that we use it for home rehabilitation. We do have quite a list of people who need home rehabilitation, so we want to make good progress and invest as much as possible this year.
Okay, so let me ask you another question. So would some of those funds, so the lady who got up and was concerned about the infestation of roaches on her entire block, and so that's a public safety issue. Would that be something that these funds could be used for to help in that area?
I'm not sure if those funds could for that particular issue, but we do also have public infrastructure funds. There's, I think, 700,000 allocated from the CDBG.
Oh, public facilities and improvements? But that's not public, though. That would be private homes.
Well, I don't know the extent of what's going on there.
It's a residential block.
So I don't know if it's the sewers causing the problem, if there was sewers causing the problem.
Right,
perhaps.
but when I'm reading the description, I'm sorry to interrupt, I'm sorry, but I'm reading the description of the this microphone, I can't stand it. The project, when reading home rehabilitation, the project includes the provision of grants to low and moderate income homeowners to fund rehabilitation construction projects to address code issues, ensure safety, and perform lead-based paint testing and remediation. So I mean, if there's an animal and roach infestation, to me, that sounds like a code issue. Sounds like a safety issue. So I'm not sure why, like, wouldn't, and it's a health issue for sure. It seems to me that's the perfect kind of project that these funds would be used for. So, I mean, I'm not putting you on this, I don't mean to be putting you on the spot. Okay, will they qualify? But it's, to me, it sounds like the kind of thing. Now, if I'm wrong, can you describe the kind of thing that these funds would be used for? Like that, not the public part. I don't mean the 700,000, the two $500,000 buckets.
What you describe is possible. The homeowner would need to come in and we'd need to go through the qualifications. And then we would send out inspectors to take a look at what's happening. And then we would move forward with a project once it's approved.
Okay, so if she has not to get into her personal business, but if a homeowner like her has a phone call and a meeting with Mr. Singh, and there's an issue where there's roach and animal infestation in an entire block of homes, or even if it's just a few homes, would that be something that he would know about this stuff and he would say, hey, you might qualify for a grant? Is that something that they would communicate? Because I just feel like a lot of these funds, people don't know about the availability of them. So when there's code issues, are they saying, hey, you might qualify for a grant?
Yes.
Okay.
My
All right.
department works very closely with licenses and inspections on these types of projects.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm advocating that for the lady and her mother that came here tonight, that Mr. Singh makes sure that he tells them about it. I mean, 93 years old and she came out to a meeting. I mean, I think that's something.
So to piggyback off the previous resident, yeah, I was confused too about the two homes, so thank you for clearing that up. But I guess that was also on her next question. Now, how would homeowners or people in the township be notified of this, or is there an application process? Like, is there a website they're supposed to go to? What are you guys doing to inform residents who, are low to moderate income, whatever you want to, classify them as? Is there a website they have to go on? Do they email the one center? Like what?
So
Yeah.
there is currently a waiting list for.
Okay, there's a waiting list.
Yes,
Okay.
for home rehabilitation. The pandemic caused some, workflow issues, supply chain, et cetera. So we do want to go back to that list and make sure that everybody who is qualified and still is interested in the program has an opportunity. But yes, there is a website. It's been on the Upper Darby Township website for at least the 4 years I've been here, that talks about how to apply for both the home rehabilitation and the first-time home buyers programs, which we are ramping up to get the word out. I think we could definitely do better with that so that more people can take advantage of it.
Okay, but you're going to prioritize the wait list first, I guess, whatever wait list you already have.
Yes.
Okay, cool beans. I just wanted to make sure because I was like, where do people apply? Has there already been an application? So there is a wait list. Now, also piggybacking off her, what if this becomes, say for example, there's an issue with one whole block? Does that transfer into the public and facilities improvements? Say for example, the whole block has the same sewer issue. I don't know, I'm just making stuff up. And there's like some wrong piping. Does that become then the public? Or is that kind of just, and I don't know if you know that, I'm just saying.
The easiest way to sort of divide it is that if it's a township-owned and maintained infrastructure, like sewers, roads, et cetera, then that would be under the 700,000. If it is a homeowner's, residence, then that's under home rehabilitation.
Okay, so what about people that like live on a road that is technically owned by the state? Does it matter?
I don't know for sure.
Just asking.
Yeah,
like,
I will look into that.
It's like if you live on State Road
Right.
or Westchester Pike, just asking, like, how does that work with the funds? Is that still like, do you have to does it take a longer time to wait because you have to get any approval from the state or anything like that?
I would have to talk to the engineer and the consultants that we have, the HUD consultant, M&L Associates, because when it comes to state roads, I admit I'm a little confused about who can do what and when. So I'd
And-
have to defer to the experts.
Okay, and do we have any federally owned roads in Upper Darby Township?
I don't know.
No? Okay, no, I was asking because Philly does. So it depends on what block you're on, and some blocks are considered federal highways. So I don't know if that would take a longer time. So I just wanted to just get that out there. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to be really quick. I think what would be very helpful, we're finding out, is what the criteria was and how the organizations were chosen. And I'm sure you have something, some document explaining and share it with everybody. And then also give to the council people, what is the process for people to apply? Because they're the ones that are in the communities talking to people. Instead of having everybody call, as we know, a lot of people don't have access to a website to apply. So if you come up with a document that can be shared with council, and then they can talk to the people that they represent, that's a start. And how many people are on the waiting list? I mean, is this just a moot point? I mean, will the waiting list?
So you're talking about the housing rehabilitation program?
Yes.
Yes. I think there are at least 50, perhaps 75 people on the wait
Currently
list.
on the list.
Yes.
Yeah, so I think it's just, what I'm hearing is, everybody just needs to know how you had to have some type of worksheet of
It's there.
why, who you chose, what you chose, share that, and then also provide to council, how, people in their neighborhood, how they can help them, besides just calling L&I and putting it on them.
Absolutely. I'm just a little bit confused how the people were selected.
How the organizations were selected. You said there were 10 applicants, so you just
Are you
didn't
talking about,
randomly.
it's two different buckets.
Right. So how did you choose out of each bucket? I mean, you just didn't put the name, the organizations in a hat. You had to have some
Yes.
criteria, whatever it was. I don't even know it that well, but I think if you shared that, that'd be very helpful for everybody, and they would, understand why those organizations were chosen.
Yes, so-
That's what I would do. And then within each one, how people within the community can apply, other than just sending people to a website, which is kind of difficult for a lot of people to do that.
So the application is on the website, and I hear what you're saying, and we
Yeah.
are working on getting hard copies out in the future to certainly the One Center, perhaps the libraries.
Perfect.
Yes.
Yeah, that's perfect. And then give to council too, so they can have it, or direct people.
Yeah, we're working every year to improve this
Yeah.
process. It's only year 2 that I've been leading
Yeah,
it.
that's fine. But I think if you do that, I think everything will be answered.
Yes, thank you.
My apologies. I remember something that I wanted to ask you with regards to, you mentioned about you have a process in place to verify that the funds were spent on Upper Darby
Monitoring.
monitoring, right?
Yes.
What, can you describe what that process is, or is that something that I could discuss with you offline to understand how do you really verify it? And I'm just going to give an example, and I'm not picking on Murphy's Giving Market, but in that scenario, if they're giving food to local residents who are in need, what would be that monitoring process to document that these are indeed residents who are in need? And I asked that question because it reminded me of a situation about 5 years ago where in the business that I work in, one of the employees who is affiliated with a church, and the church got a grant, and they had all different types of food products and household products and all that. And when I was in their office, I said, "Oh, where'd you get all those? Where did you get all those detergents, Tide detergents?" "Oh, my church got it because we had a grant and it was to give out to those in need, needy residents." Now, this is a branch manager making over $100,000 a year, and they had extra and they took it. And to me, you're not needy, right? So what do you do to verify that it is going to those in need and to those who really deserve it?
So it's up to the organizations to keep track of all of that information. The township, through the monitoring process, goes in and looks at all the records. They look at records for consistency. They look at it for clarity. They look at it over more than 1 year. The township, through the subrecipient agreement, has the right to do that. If there are any inconsistencies, there's a deeper level of monitoring that happens. So anything that the township asks them to produce with regard to the grant, they have to produce, or else that's a finding. And then it goes through the process.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Just two things real quick. So you said that you keep it up to the recipients to make sure they keep track, and then if you feel that they're not up to par, or not up to par, I might have the word used, but you'll go into deeper. So did that happen with Men of Faith, Brothers of Action?
That was prior to my 10 years.
Was it?
Leader.
Was it?
Yes.
Okay. Two, you made a comment about, talking about the criteria and the applications. It's our money, so I think we should be able to see the scorecards. And will you be making the scorecards available?
A sample of the scorecard?
No, the
blank
scorecards.
scorecard?
The scorecards for the people who were awarded my money. I would like to see the scorecards for the people who were awarded my money.
I will look into that.
Okay, well, I think somebody asked you that the last meeting, at the public hearing?
Sharing the actual scorecards
Yes.
of the subrecipients, we will look into it.
Okay, you said that the last meeting too, just so you know?
So like, say for example, like whoever gets the money to fix their home, what if the degree of fixing involves them having to leave their home? Does that make sense?
Leave their home?
Yeah, like say for example, like something has to get gutted, they can't be on the property when this is happening. Is there any, like, does those funds also take care of that? Does that make sense?
Like temporary accommodations?
Yeah, like a temporary accommodation, is that also in there?
I don't know.
Okay,
but
no, I just wanted to know, because
Thank you
like,
for
when you're
asking.
talking about like low to moderate income, and you're trying to help them out with certain code issues, what can end up happening is you're gonna find a bigger issue, just saying, because most of the houses in Upper Darby are old as hell, So, well, it's this whole region, it's old as hell, it's East Coast, so like, some houses are built in 1800s, all that kinds of stuff. So say, for example, someone has to leave, is that money also allocated for temporary stay, or like what, I guess, has that been thought of or anything like that? Or is that something that's part of our budget as well? Or do we have to take that on as a township?
It's a great question. There haven't been that many whole home rehabilitations that I have seen, but we have a new consultant, M&L Associates, and I will ask them if the funds can be used for that. Thank you for the question.
Yeah, or, even if like asking residents if they're willing to open up their homes too, if that helps. Just saying, because like, I know with home projects, if you have to leave, I recently had a big home project, I had to leave. And it can be hard because now you have to move all your stuff out. What are you gonna do? You have to go to work. Where are you gonna stay? So that was the question I had. Thank you.
Thank you.
Did you say M-N-L or M-and-L?
M and L.
Okay, thank you.
Mellon and Lonergan.
Okay. What's her name?
Mullen and Lonergan, I believe.
Lonergan.
They're
Okay. My question is the guidelines for the people that apply for grants, the organizations, and we have 4 of them are gonna, nonprofits, there are 4 of them are getting them. So you're saying that you're not willing, or they're not public at this time, the guidelines?
the guidelines for filling out the application and applying?
No, the guidelines for what do you have, yeah, the scoring card. What parameters, what criteria do you have to meet in order to be granted an award? How would someone know that? How would I know that as a resident of Upper Darby Township? How would I know what the guidelines are for getting an award even if I wasn't a nonprofit?
So the two primary dynamic is alignment with the consolidated plan. So all of our CDBG, ESG, and home funds from the federal government are guided by the consolidated plan. We are in the last year of the consolidated plan, so there will be a new one developed in 2026. The current Upper Darby consolidated plan really places an emphasis on housing, homelessness,
Right.
preventing homelessness.
Okay, so I think everybody probably gets a pretty good score on that one. So that's one guideline?
That is a major guideline.
That's the major guideline.
The other is demonstrated capacity to be able to meet the requirements of the program.
And where would one find those?
Those are federal guidelines set by HUD. We could also, I think, share a sample subrecipient agreement. I just want to clarify that this is only the second year that the township has undergone this type of process. It is not required by HUD. As far as HUD is concerned, the municipalities have quite a breadth of jurisdiction in deciding how the funds get allocated, as long as they are approved by the governing body.
Yeah, I understand that. I guess my concern is that if it's not communicated what the guidelines are, what the criteria is, then how would people know? And then secondly, I know you're saying this is only the second year, they don't require certain things, you're doing whatever, I don't know. Seems Men of Action Brothers of Faith got money long ago that we paid back. So that was like at least, what, 2021? I don't remember. 2021, so there were no guidelines back then, is that what you're telling me? They were granted money.
The process that we did this year and that we've done last year is a new process, to my knowledge, for the township.
And so they were on a different, the one when Men of Action got their money, they were on a different, what did you call that first thing? Like the overall, like what your goal is, your initiative, like what did you call that? Like this year it's homelessness and housing and things like that. What did you call that?
Plan or?
Consolidated plan?
Yeah.
So was that so with the year that they got their money, or the years that they got their money, so that was a different consolidated plan?
It's a 5-year plan, so we are ending it was 20 to 25.
Oh, so they were in
21
this.
through 25.
Oh, so that didn't sound like housing problems
The
to me.
consolidated plan does not lay out the application process, just the
I
priorities
understand.
for the township.
I understand. Yeah, I mean, somebody put a right to know in for the scorecards and they got denied off the bat. Like, I don't think, we need to know what the scorecards are. The public should be aware of, so when somebody gets turned down, do you tell them why? Are they even allowed to get their scorecard? Because apparently me as a member of public, you've denied me the right to have it.
I don't handle right to know, but to my knowledge, we have not shared scorecards with anybody outside
How
the
would a
township.
subrecipient that didn't get money, how would a nonprofit know why they didn't get the money? How would they know?
We're always glad to have a conversation. with
Something on the record, not a conversation. Conversations are not memorialized. Something that's memorialized, how would they know?
How would they know that they didn't?
How would they know why they didn't get money?
There is no process for that.
Wait a minute, where's that paper? Where's that paper? This one? This one. This is $252,000 that you're awarding. That's like nothing. That's real money, and there's no process to tell people why they didn't get money. You can't put stuff in. Like, this is 2025. Like, you can't, it's like Joe Biden said, oh, I don't recall, I had a conversation. You can't have conversations. You got to write stuff down. And I really am greatly opposed if you're telling me that you don't put in writing why a nonprofit did not receive money. It's got to be in writing. And if it's not, you got to change your practices. That's like bad business practice in any business.
So I'm committed to continuous improvement with this program, and the new consultants have a lot of experience, and I'm relying on them to help us improve the program. But tonight, I really only can speak to the recommendations for program year 51 that are in the resolution.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm making a recommendation. I'm not a professional consultant, but I'm a regular person that knows stuff. This stuff has to be in writing.
Sorry, Rita, we're all beating up on you, but you have to understand that we've all been burnt by Ed Brown's money. And you're saying that there's no, we're not allowed to know anything. So can you tell us who the 6 nonprofits were that did not get money this year?
At this time, I can only speak to what is in the resolution.
So you will not tell us who applied?
I can only speak to what's in the resolution for program year 51 recommendation.
So you will not tell us who applied and why they were denied? And even in general, they were denied because they were ugly, they were denied because they were Republicans, they were denied because, again, like I like Murphy's Giving Market, but they're not getting people into homes, I don't think. They're giving people food is what I think. So you said this is all about homeless, but I don't know. It doesn't seem
Homelessness and
like
preventing
what you're
homelessness.
saying is matching up to what you're saying on this side to different people. So you're not going to tell us who applied. You're not going to tell us what your criteria were for picking the 4 people that you picked. And again, there's a lot of money. So if I send an email to HUD and I say Cobbs Creek Housing Services, I don't think they're servicing Upper Darby, and then I got to pay back $120,000 out of my pocket again because you're giving money to somebody, but you won't share with us what the criteria was that you decided to give them money and deny people that might be, I don't know all the nonprofits in Upper Darby, but maybe there's some there. Oh, I'm sorry. I mean to disturb them. Kind of lost my thought there. I mean, it's a lot of money. And you're just saying, well, we decide. And we won't tell anybody how we decide. Do you tell council how you decide?
I'm making a recommendation on behalf of the township to council.
So council does not get to know how you decided that these 4 nonprofits were going to get money. They don't have the right to know either. Is that true?
Haven't been asked.
Well, can one of y'all ask them maybe?
I mean, some of us attended the hearing by Mr. Alberts where he explained, and even
I attended the hearing. I was there longer than you were. You only
you have the
for
floor.
part. I was there for the whole thing. Go ahead. No, go ahead. Did they explain to you how they chose certain people?
So, in the meeting with Mr. Alberts, where there was a lot of great questions asked for, Mr. Damasi asked a lot of questions too, and we were told the application process and the people that were selected and some of the reasons behind the selection, and also to note some of the folks that are on this list have not received money before, right? And some years they did, and they called and they said, "Hey, I did everything right," and they still didn't receive funds. So, I just think, and I'll go more into this during my time to speak, but I just feel like as a council member, the process that the administration put forward is a lot clearer and stronger than it was 2 years ago, and I'm very, I'm confident, and the folks here and I will be voting yes on this.
Wait a minute. I didn't quite. I had a little trouble understanding everything you were saying. So they explained to you why they who they were picking.
Explanation.
They explained to you why they were picking who they were picking. Is that
It was
what
an
you said?
application process, and those folks were approved. Based on what I see here, I'm satisfied with those folks, and like I said, I'm going to vote yes for it.
That's beautiful. I'm glad you are. You're probably going to move out of Upper Darby when you stop going to council, and you won't be ending up paying the $120,000 back, or the $250,000 back, or the $20 million or whatever we're getting all together, $2.3 million. You won't end up paying it back like the rest of us will. But this is supposed to be public. It's not, HUD wants it to be public. And you guys are hiding an awful lot of stuff. And when you hide stuff, it's not good. There's no good reason to hide stuff. I'm not asking for anybody's social security number. I'm not asking for that. I'm asking for the names of the, maybe I want to give money to the poor people that you didn't feel were good enough to give HUD money to. And I want to support those nonprofits, but I can't because you don't tell me who they are that you don't support. I mean,
As I said, we will look into it. I think that if the township is going to share the specific scorecards and reasons why any given organization was successful or not successful, any organization considering applying should be informed of that beforehand. So if the
well, I would
township
assume if I was
decides,
asking for public money, if I were a nonprofit asking for public money, I would think that the public would have a right to know. It's public.
that is.
Your public money. It's not your personal little HUD wallet. It's
That is something
public
we will
money.
look into.
What? I'm sorry.
That is something we will look into.
I hear that a lot.
I am giving my opinion that I think that organizations should know before they apply, clearly stated in the application, that that would all become public.
Well,
That is not something we did this year.
well, I think you should do that. Second of all, back to my other point about a public hearing. I know that you're involved with the school district. The school district, I can go to their school board meetings and I can get up and speak. Or I can send them an email. And at the meeting, they read each email out into the public record so that it's public. They do that at every single school board meeting, no matter how many emails they get. Sometimes it gets very lengthy, but that's what they do. And I think that you need to read those 16 emails, or at least put them available somewhere, because this is supposed to be, again, a public hearing, not just individual people talking to you. It's supposed to be a public hearing. So I hope that you guys are, care about our money.
Another question. So like for the public facilities improvements, is there any way we can get money allocated? This is an idea for like all of the public driveways on the Upper Darby side. I'm just asking for a friend.
Public driveways?
Yeah, you know how we have our public driveways that lead to where we're parking, the alleys? Thank you.
Oh,
The alleys, like for the public facilities and improvements, that would be great improvement. Just putting that out there.
it's my understanding that the alleys are a complicated matter about whether they're public or private.
Well, I'm just
But-
saying, because like, yeah, the trash guys drive on it and just tear it up. So I just want to know if they're like, how that would work for the public facilities improvement, just putting that out there. If you guys want to do that, please, just.
We can have the discussion. I'm not the expert on the alleys. And
Okay, but can we
whether
do an
they're public or
application
private.
for that? Like,
Those funds are,
okay. I just wanted to make sure if there was if there was like a hotline for that, or any ideas or anything where people can at least talk about where, outside the public forum, where people can talk about like where they would like the money, especially for like the public alleyways, because like I said, those trash trucks drive on there and they don't give a damn. So, yeah, thank you.
yes.
To piggyback on the last statement about the public alleys and looking at the public facilities and improvements, parks, playgrounds, recreational facilities, but more importantly, looking at your line for emergency solutions grant program, that's almost $150,000, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Prior to Tom McCosey losing the election to Barbara Ann Keffer, there was a grant program for the back alleys. Excuse me, I'm talking, please. Thank you. There was a grant program for the back alleys, and let me tell you how it came about, because there's a history to it. I was pulling out trash on Kent Road. I was pulling out trash all down Kent Road, the 200 block. I did a live video about how there is a trail of trash that starts from 69th Street that comes into the 6th District. I met with Tom McCosey, and I told him that we have to do something with the new citizens coming in improving the back alleys. There was discussion in here, there was numerous discussions on record about the use of the trash trucks in the apron and private alleys. Yes, we understand in Upper Darby Township that all private driveways, the back alleys, are responsibility of the residents. That has been made perfectly clear. But also at the same time, the administration at the time also admitted that the weight of the trash trucks could and have caused damage to the aprons. And that has been conclusive. This is not something I'm making up for the good of the people, because we've been down this road. So myself, the administration of that time period, and all of the departments did a back alley cleaning of the 200 block of Kent Road. I was there. This back alley cleaning then came to an idea with the administration and from citizens to do a pilot program based upon a grant that was gotten to do the back alley program. It was done in 3 back alleys. It was done. And then Tom McCosey lost. And then the grant mysteriously disappeared. Because we've talked about this. And then when we were going back and forth with council about the grant appearing, the solicitor at the time, Mr. Kilkenny, says, oh yes, there was grant money. Because one of the alleys got done behind Mr. Hafiz Tunis's residence. This I know because, like I said, I was there. See, you guys have to understand something. I've been here since the beginning. I'm not a fly-by-night guy. I keep trying to tell y'all that. Don't let these people get you fooled. I understand the economics of what's going on. Let's dig into this Emergency Solutions Grant Program that talks about possible program components that include street outreach, emergency shelter construction, emergency shelter operation, homeless prevention, rapid rehousing, data collection, and administration. Who's been responsible for the code blues in Upper Darby for the past 3 years? Who's been responsible? No. Who's done it? This is speaking to that. Okay, so when we're talking about, let's speak to it. When we're talking about homelessness prevention, when we're talking about emergency shelter operations, who operated the code blues for Upper Darby Township for the past 2 years, including this year that just passed?
I am really only here to speak about program year 51.
Okay, so I'm gonna ask this. In that program, is there any money from that program to help any veterans or homeless veterans or veterans that are unhoused or helping your Upper Darby American Legion with any emergency provisions that we provided, like the National Guard when they were here to prevent the rioting? Remember who saved the businesses and the houses when we were overrun during the periods of rioting? Where were they housed? They were housed in emergency shelters, emergency settings, and the state guarantees that any provisions that come through a collective, comes through something like this through a community block grant, that you can allocate money to veterans organizations within this grant. And seeing as though that you have over $150,000 to spend on emergency solutions, and since we all know that Recovery Without Barriers ran the drug treatment program for Upper Darby, and since we all know that I put down cots, that I put down beds for the homeless so they wouldn't freeze to death like they did under Barbara Ann Keffer's administration when I found the body of the woman Karen on 69th Street. You need to stop gassing these people up and tell the people why you will not allocate money for veterans within this emergency bill that you can do for the Upper Darby American Legion. Will you make sure that some of that money for this emergency when we do the code blues for you again because your homeless shelter's about to close down, right?
As I said earlier, the ESG funds in program year 51 have not been allocated. We haven't
I'm
even
asking when they,
decided
I'm
on
asking
the
when they
process
do.
for it.
I'm asking when they do, since I've already given the back history and the backstory for context so people don't think that I'm up here begging you for anything, because I'm not. Because you guys sleep really, really well in the wintertime when it's below freezing, when I'm up with the homeless, because I don't see none of you. So when these emergency services are provided, the black man that you don't like is with the people that you step over, the veterans that you step over. So I'm asking for public record, with you on record in this entire council, will you allocate money to the veterans that stand for America, that take care of the people that you are trying to provide services to when you're about to close the homeless shelter in Upper Darby?
The recommendation here is for council to approve the ESG funds for program year 51. If council does not do that, we do not get the funds. There is no recommendation here as to how those funds should be spent. That process still needs to be determined.
Okay, I'm satisfied with that answer. Thank you very much. No, I'll say that for later.
So I'm on the IRS website and I pulled up the 990 for CAADC, Community Action Agency of Delaware County, Inc. And I'm just seeing like they don't have any receipts. $10,000 is all they have. 2022, it's the last one they filed. So do they typically, so they don't get money from anywhere else? Just seems odd to me. The 120,000 is going to come from Upper Darby, but they're only reporting $10,000 of receipts on their 990. Do you know anything?
The application process for subrecipients is two-part. The first part, which we have finished and are the organizations that are being recommended, will go into the second part of the application, which is much deeper in depth as to the information that gets provided, things like 990s. If they are found lacking, then they will not get an allocation, and administration will come back to council to amend the action plan if that is necessary.
So if you decided that one of these four didn't actually really qualify, then would you open up the application process, or you would reallocate it to other areas in this, in the other buckets?
Well, we'd have to, whether we put it into other buckets or we reopen the application process, we have to come back through council to amend the action plan to do that.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So again, with the public facilities improvements, does that involve street sweepers? Because I'm sorry, the roads are just dirty. It's just dirty as hell. So will that involve street sweepers? I understand we do own street sweepers.
Yeah, we can get you the street sweeper so you can know what time it comes on your street.
Well, I thought we didn't have, I thought there was no schedule.
No, we have a street sweeper. We have a schedule.
Okay, they're not coming down my block, so I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
No, that's why I'm going to make sure the schedule gets to you.
Yes, please, can someone email me the schedule or what of the street sweeper, because they do not come in District 5, or at least my part of District 5. And it's dirty as hell. I've been complaining all the time about it, and clearly my council person does nothing about it. So that's why I just wanted to ask, when we talk about public, just putting that out there for street sweepers. Thanks.
All right.
Are there any further comments from members of the public? Are there any further comments from members of the public? Are there any further comments from members of the public? Seeing none, I can have a motion to close the public hearing?
Motion. Second.
Secretary Billups, seconded by Councilor Brandis. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, is there a motion on the floor to approve resolution 2125? Motion
Make
made
the
by
motion.
Councilor Bento. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilor Brandis. Is the motion second on the floor? Secretary Billups?
I have a question.
Yes, Secretary Billups?
Who has his question?
Somebody said they got a question.
Councilor Wentz?
Yeah, thank you. I have also expressed concerns about the application process and the problems with people. Am I speaking, or am I not, or is someone else speaking?
You're good.
Oh, okay, thanks. I've also discussed the concerns I had with nonprofits not given ample time to apply, especially when there were problems with the application, with the link to the application process, probably due to the power outages and so forth, that the nonprofits had no control over. So that being said, and after listening to all the public comment, and I share a lot of the same concerns as most of the residents who've spoken. So therefore, I'd like to make a motion to amend the allocations to allocate 30,000 for recovery without barriers, 40,000 for breaking bread, and to take those funds away from CAA, DC, Cobbs Creek Housing Services and give them only 50,000 instead. So then therefore the funds can be spread out to more of the actual nonprofits that are out there doing the work. I've been with Recovery Without Barriers at 69th Street to feed the homeless. I've taken part in the setting up of cots and so forth at the Upper Darby American Legion post for Code Reds, or sorry, Code Blues. And I believe that, and I've worked with Breaking Bread, and I believe the work that they do are essential for our township and the homeless. I take the SEPTA all the time, and I see the poor conditions that the homeless have to endure, and I think it's and I also so as to the motion, that is my motion, and I'm hoping that I'll have a second to that motion.
Is there a second on the motion? Seeing none. There's no second on the motion, Councilor Wentz.
Okay, well then I'm going to continue my time. I am concerned about what when Ms. LaRue talked about the criteria. I'd like to know who sat in on who was part of the committee who decided what nonprofits got selected for these, and also wanted to comment that a lot of these funds have been given to them over the years. And in fact, and I also want to get clarification that the actual HUD process of the nonprofit spends the money and turns in receipts and then gets reimbursed actually happens, versus the concept of the township paying for things first, and as was done under Keffer. So I just want to make sure the HUD rules are actually followed.
Ms. LaRue?
Yes, Councillor Wentz, subrecipients for 2025 and in the future must spend their own funds first and then submit to the township for reimbursement.
Okay, and then who is part of the committee that approves the nonprofits?
I'm going to have to get back to you on that. As with the applicants, I think that if we're going to
wait a second.
May I answer the question?
No, if you're not going to give us the information of who took part in that decision process about the disbursement of public funds, that's a problem. That looks super shady, to use a resident's term of shadiness. I mean, yeah, okay, you go back and then they pass it, rubber stamp everything that the administration brings forward. But, quite frankly, there's not a whole lot of accountability if you're not actually transparent. And I do believe the mayor had talked about how transparent, how when he first made his first mayor announcement when he was sworn in, about how he was going to basically be the king of transparency. Well, just to be clear, if you can't reveal the information of who was on the committee that allocated these funds to these nonprofits, there's nothing transparent about that. Nothing.
Thank you, Councilor Wentz.
Absolutely nothing.
Your-
And
your
by the
time is up.
way, there is no timer for anyone on Zoom to see. So you're going to
Oh,
hold me accountable
yeah,
for a
I'll let you.
timer that I cannot see at
I'll
all.
give you a 30. I'll give you a 1 minute or 30-second reminder of how much time you have left. But
That
your
would
time
be
is up.
great. Thank you. We used to do
Any
that.
other further comments from members of council?
I have a comment.
Secretary Billups.
So CBDG money, I'm sure everyone is aware, is federal dollars, right? So this is money that was allocated to, that's going to come to us soon, right? Ms. LaRue?
Yes, Upper Darby's an entitlement community, so it comes to us directly.
Okay. So it's a process that applicants have to go through, correct? It's not a secret process. I didn't talk when you were talking, so I'm going to talk to Ms. LaRue. So it's a process because when I sat on the board, when I was in Philadelphia, it was a continuum of care process that I went through. So it was similar to the CBDG process. And there is a scoring that you go through. You review the application. You check for eligibility and completeness, right? And some people have time. I know in Philly, for the housing program that I was involved with, they had a time frame the applications had to be in, and there's a lot of paperwork that needed to be involved. You have to have an executive summary page. I'm just thinking off the top of my head if I can remember, and what your board is. How many people are on your board, all those things, how much money you spent in the past, what your budget is, what you anticipate your budget to be, and who you're serving, right? And how you plan to do that. And I would imagine that CBDG is the same way. And the scoring is, in the continuum of care, the scoring was, it said, okay, did the application have an executive summary? And you give it a 2. I'm just making up a number. And then it's a scoring that you go through. And that's how, I'm just explaining to you how the criteria works, okay? Then you get you get the score that way, because then if everything is met, then that's how you decide. It's not arbitrary. That's what I'm trying to say. If I'm hearing you correctly, it's not arbitrary how you guys select your people that get this allocation. And allocation for me, in my head, allocation is not the right word, but I get it. So that's how it's a scoring process that you go through, and that's how the people, however it is they get the funds, that's how they get the funds. Am I correct in saying that?
So just for clarification, HUD does not require that the municipality engage subrecipients.
Okay.
Therefore, HUD does not prescribe how those subrecipients are selected if a municipality chooses to do so. So each municipality is able to create their own process for this.
So you have a process, is what I'm saying to you. You have a process that you started a process last year, and the whole scoring thing. Because I remember when Scott was saying how you do the score. Scott Alberts said how you score each application, and what that would look like. So and that's how it's determined. Again, it's not arbitrary how these funds are.
We are endeavoring to make it less arbitrary.
Yes, that's
every
the word
year.
I'm looking for. Yes, yes.
And I think I can safely say I'm happy to share the blank scorecards. But I do think that the individuals who agreed to serve as scorers should have known, if the township is going to make such information public in the future,
Right.
they should know that before they agree to do that scoring.
I agree.
I would need time to talk with our consultants and
Yeah.
the solicitor about how much information should be shared.
So this whole thing is not your just for lack of a better word that I can think of, allocating these funds because you like someone or you don't like someone. It's actually a process of.
Absolutely not. We do not.
I know, but this is what I was hearing. So I'm just repeating not from you, but this is what I was hearing.
Understood.
You know, so it's not that these funds were allocated because you like person A and you didn't like person B. It was just a process.
They process.
Okay.
Just, Ms. LaRue, I want to thank you for answering the questions. The only request, or is everything good with our tech? Can people hear us? Yeah, okay. The only issue I've seen through this process, which isn't really on the administration, is something we see all over the Philadelphia area, Delaware County, where people start nonprofits from passion and that they're passionate about. But sometimes the paperwork and all those may not be their expertise. So is there something in the future we can look into where we can help nonprofits? Like, because if someone, let's say, is passionate about giving kids football cleats, they may know how to get cleats to the students, but not how to record and all that information. So if there's a workshop or something we can do before the next process to kind of give nonprofits more help and assistance.
Yes, we will be providing more technical assistance is what we call it. And there is funding available in the administrative part of the budget. So we will have our consultant supply those trainings for prospective applicants in the future. Yeah.
All right, thank you. Are there any further comments from members of council? Seeing none, I'll now ask all in favor for resolution number 2125?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I'm gonna vote no, because I believe the allocation should have been spread out more evenly to those who are actually doing the work. I do support the overall project, but I'm having problems with the people who were not included. So I don't stop it from being passed, so.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is resolution number 2225 to amend the 2021-2025 consolidated plan. Is there a motion on the floor for council to approve resolution number 2025?
Blackwell makes the motion to.
Motion made by Councilor Blackwell, seconded by Councilor Brandes. There's a motion and second on the floor. Any questions from members of council, comments? Okay, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Passes unanimous, passes 10 with one excuse. The next item on the agenda is resolution number 2325 to amend the Community Development Block Grant Program Action Plan for program year 48.
Make the
Is there-
motion.
I'll second.
Motion made by Councilor Wentz, seconded by Councilor Brandes. Is a motion second on the floor. Any comments from members of council? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you. The next item on our agenda is our solicitor. And,
I have no report this evening.
okay, there's no further questions for solicitor. I will now go to old business. Councilor Banto.
Thank you, President Tunis. So I'm going to use this time to actually address why I kept my hat on today. I know this is not my first time coming in this meeting with hat, and normally it would be next to me on the floor. So if you see it on today, it's something that happened. But if this offend anyone, I don't mean to be. I'm a law-abiding person. I'm a policy maker, so I cannot come here and break rules. So I'm keeping my hat on today because of medical reason. I cannot expose my hair to the light for 5 hours. So I kept it on. So I just want to apologize if this offend anyone. For the public, I'm sorry for keeping it on, but it's not intentional. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Banto.
I have something.
Councilor Wentz.
Yes, I have some concerns. I know that the administration gives council updates on when ICE is in the township. But I discovered that the notification we got yesterday about, sorry, cat jumping, about ice being in the township at 5 o'clock that afternoon was actually 9 hours late. So I'm curious, why is there a 9-hour delay on us getting information about ice being in our township?
CAO?
Specifically yesterday, I had some problems with my, with meetings, and I just did not get to my phone until later in the day when I saw it, and that was it.
Okay, because it came across as if ice is in the township versus ice was in the township.
Yes, I cut and pasted the message as soon as I saw it and sent it to council.
Okay, so, but yet, is there any way for us to get that information on a more timely fashion? Because I shared the information, but to then discover that I was sharing it 9 hours late and they had already come and gone. So then I was sharing bad information as if it was currently happening, to then discover it had already happened.
I think that is the one time I can recall when I didn't get it to council in a more timely fashion.
Okay, so all the other times were in the timely fashion. It was just a fluke on this past.
Yes, I was late yesterday because I saw it late.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure there wasn't a it wasn't a intentional snag. So I just needed clarification. So thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Brannis? Yes.
Okay, just real quickly, I just wanted to thank CAO Jones, and I wanted to thank Jeff Nichols. He was here probably about a month ago talking about Penn Pines. He's actually a resident of Yeadon, but the problem stretched through across the river or across the creek into Upper Darby. But I do want to thank you. I want to thank the solicitor for looking things over, and for Public Works for finally getting the signs up that the police department can enforce to make sure that there's no safety concerns, and the public can enjoy our parks and Penn Pines as much as possible this summer. And I really, especially with, you know, the flood in Texas and the rain that we've been having here, I really appreciate the swiftness that you and Public Works and also the team at Yeadon have acted in this situation. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. If there's no further old business, I'll now go to new business. Councilor McNeely?
Yes, thank you. I would like to reintegrate about the cookout in the 510 on the 26th of July. It starts at 11 to 4. It's at 49 Gulf Road. We hope to have you all come out in the 10. We will be having people out to show you how to do well, we're going to be doing wound care as well as doing CPR. And so we hope to have you all come out in the 10. I will be out cooking. I will be giving away hamburgers and hot dogs and sodas and treats for the kids.
And you have vegan options too, right?
Excuse me?
You got vegan options?
Yeah, we will have vegan options.
Yeah, it's allowed. It's allowed. It's Upper Darby. It's not Fresh Rodeo. Does that conclude your report, Councilor McNeely?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, wait a minute. I'm sorry. And I also wanted to address the issue about the 510. I did speak to Mr. Crandall earlier about the street sweeper coming through there. I was over there today, and I will be back over there Sunday. But yeah, I did address that issue.
Thank you, Councilor. Sorry, Councilor Banto?
So this is a quick announcement. So President Tony and I will be hosting the flag raising for the Liberia Independence Day in Upper Darby this year in collaboration with the Township and the Library Association Pennsylvania chapter. So July 26th is the Independent Day for Liberia. So every year it's a tradition. We raise the flag. So this year we are going to be hosting in Upper Darby. It's going to start 1 p.m. on the 20th to 3 p.m. So you are all welcome and come and experience the Liberian heritage. We're going to have cultural performances and other, dance and stuff. And also we're going to have food there and come and enjoy the Liberian dish. So I want to welcome you all. It's going to be a great time. It's going to happen right here at the grounds of the township building.
Yeah, and
1 p.m.
Can I piggyback off that?
Yeah, to 3.
Yeah, so it's not being raised on the township building. It's being raised in the flagpole.
I'm sorry.
It's going to be raised on the flagpole, and just a history lesson, because I know a lot of people in this room don't understand the significance of Liberia to the United States. It was a country founded by free slaves, and I have the floor. I don't interrupt when you're speaking. One of the first presidents was actually born not too far from where I was born, in Virginia. So I think it's Lansdowne has been doing it for a while, but Upper Darby has 2 council members of Liberian descent, and I was pleased that Mayor Brown, Congresswoman Scanlon, Councilor Monica Taylor, Dr. Monica Taylor, State Reps Curry and Boyd have all said they would attend as well. So we'll make sure to send it all to council, and it's just a great way to display how some part of American history a lot of people aren't aware of. I'm sorry for piggyback. I didn't want to take another 5 minutes.
Sorry, I mean, you're also on the committee, so.
Yeah, so is there any other further new business?
I'm sorry, President Tunis. I meant to say something under old business. We did have a mammogram at the observatory field that was.
Kate, the time? Sorry.
That was well done. We want to thank Jefferson Hospital, Murphy's Given, for the free mammograms that they did. We expect to do it again next year. So I just want to mention that and publicly thank Jefferson Hospital and Murphy's Given for those free mammograms that they gave to the women. Also, for new business on August the 16th, Councilor Banto and I will work together to do out a food distribution. On September the 2nd, Councilor Billups and I will work together to do a food distribution as well. And then sometime in August, I'm going to do a book bag giveaway at one of the daycare centers on Westchester Pike.
Okay, when you get that information, if you could just send that to us, to Kate for all of council.
Okay, absolutely. Thank you.
Is there any further new business? I'm sorry, CAO Jones.
Mr. President, just want to make a quick announcement. I know we sent it to the council, and if it's not on the website now, it's going to be on there by tomorrow, that on Monday, the 21st at 6 p.m. In this room from 6 to 7:30, we're going to be having a public meet and greet for the 3 finalists for the police chief position. So fire chief, I'm sorry, for the fire chief position. So everybody is, not you, bro.
Yeah, we love you, Tim.
Sorry. For the fire chief's position. So it's open to everybody to come and have an informal meet and greet with the 3 council. It'll be in this room from 6 to 7:30 on Monday, the 21st.
CAO, there's no further new business. I will now ask for a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
All in
Second.
favor?
Aye.